backs, he'll hit the U-turn, turn number 5. And then 6, the fast left-hander. He unwinds the steering wheel, gets back to the left side of the track to set up for the right-hander tree turn. Then over the dogleg, he heads for the showcase here. Does he improve? 36.103 was his last time by. Does he go purple? 10 laps in a row here. Let's see. 36.1 at the line. 35.936 for Oliver Askew. 10 laps in a row. They've all been purple. Askew standing on their throats here in Ocala. He's 0.4 of a second quicker than next closest driver, Robert Wickens. Barrichello at the line. He's up to 4th. Good lap for Rubens. 37.147 for the ex-Formula One star. About a minute to go here. Askew's going to be shutting it down and pulling it in, it looks like. Yep, he puts his hand up in the air. Signoretti does not follow. He and Wickens stay on track as they come down to complete another lap. One minute remaining in the session now. Askew's going to end on top. 35.936 purple, lap after lap after lap. The kid is digging. Former OGP driver, you figure he knows the place pretty well. You'd figure right. Fast every lap of the session. Robert Wickens, 36.3. That was his last lap. 36.3 is also his best lap. Signoretti, Wickens come down one more time. Do they have anything? No. No improvement there. Wickens stays right in second place. Dev Gore in third. Barrichello, Signoretti, Munoz, your top 5 as 20 seconds remain in the session now. Barrichello crosses the line, stays in 4th. Michael McCarthy as well does not move. He's currently in the 8th position. Now inside of 10, now 5 seconds to go. Signoretti's not going to get another lap in. Checkered flag waves now. Signoretti at the line. This is his last lap. What about Wickens? What does he have? Nothing. No surprise there, folks, as the Jupiter, Florida native Oliver Askew starts the session on top and ends the session on top. Robert Wickens comes home P2. That's where he'll line up for our 3 rounds of heat races this weekend. Chudley makes a big move at the last minute. 36.7 for the Maranello driver. Luke Chudley goes up to P2, so I spoke too soon. Robert Wickens will roll on the inside of row number 2 with Rubens Barrichello alongside. And then it's Dev Gore running at your top 5. Marco Signoretti on the energy is 6th. Munoz 7th. McCarthy 8th. Martin and Simone your top 10. Meanwhile, Luis Chiavo lays down the quickest lap in Masters qualifying with Corneo and Adams your top 3 in DD2 Masters. You want to roll in when we get ready to go?
The 2016 Safina, Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo. Live from Ocala, Florida, here's Tony Laporta.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our live broadcast of round 2, the 2016 Safina Foods Florida Winter Tour. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Apologies, we just got you in just a tick late. for our DD2 and DD2 Masters qualifying. Long story short, Oliver Askew went out for 10 laps of qualifying, and he went purple every single lap, about 0.3 of a second quicker than anybody else even close to him. That's all you missed. If you're joining us this afternoon, welcome. We hope your Friday afternoon is going as good as ours is. My name is Tony Laporta, and as always, we're joined in the booth by the one and only Chris Wheeler, and on your monitor, you see live images of Senior Max drivers out on the track qualifying. Chris, it's going to be a great round of qualifying, I think, for all of our drivers this weekend.
Yeah, especially here with the senior drivers, Tony. I've been watching a lot of their action so far this week and all the free practice testing. And one of the big things, man, is it's not as cut and dry as it was 1 week ago. I think that there's about 6 or 7 heavy hitters here that all have the shot to set quick time here.
I think you're absolutely right. As our drivers make their way through the infield section, let's take a quick look at your leaderboard as we start to lay down flying laps. Jordan Lennox, the driver from Great Britain out of the PSL karting tent, goes purple. He's trying to match his buddy Oliver Askew. Jordan Lennox is going to have a good session going here, but he's got to contend with a few other big names like Jordan Sherritt, Kyle Kirkwood, and Zach DeMello. All 3 of those drivers held the top spot for at least one moment. While I was talking about Jordan Lennox, Sherritt now the quickest driver on track, 37.674. Jordan Sherritt on the Sodi kart. Kyle Kirkwood, the home track driver, is P2 early on here. Zach DeMello, the Indy Lights driver, is third. Then it's Lennox and Brooks. Christian Brooks, the big story, of course, over the offseason, making the move over to CRG. Joining him over there will also be longtime BBR karting driver Stingray Rob. Stingray not here this weekend, but Christian Brooks is, and he looks great. You know who else looks great, Chris? Austin Garrison, 37.5 for the OGP driver here in Senior Max.
Yeah, Garrison goes purple that time by in his 4th flyer, 37.520. Tony, one of the key things here as we look out from our sweet high above Ocala Grand Prix, who's going to use the air to their advantage? Who has the draft? In this morning's practice, I saw 4 of the top 5 all ran a lap with a draft. Garrison was the only one able to back it up by himself. And so that's going to be a big part of this is the 313 DeMello. He's getting a draft. Holden just had a good draft that time by with Estep. All those drivers in the top 10 currently. So it's all about who's going to get that magic lap and who's going to get that pole.
I'll tell you what, we've had a bit of a casualty out on the track. A cone has been nailed on the outside. That's going to be quite a few rows back on your tram lanes. There you see Chief Starter Cameron Egger jogging briskly to go rescue that cone. Great job, Cam, as he saves that. That's one of our acceleration line cones. Thankfully, all the drivers were able to avoid that. Didn't see who clipped it, but a scary moment early on here in qualifying, Chris.
If you follow the orange cone on Twitter, you know that cone casualties happen, and luckily we were able to avoid one there. So Garrison still on top as he backed up his lap 4 with another one on lap 5, 36.722. Mazzafaro, second. DeMello, third. Malukas. Then it'll be Lennox. That's your top 5. Down a little bit more. It'll be 6th place. It'll be Jordan Sherritt. Then it'll be Kyle Kirkwood, Trenton Estep, Zach Holden, and Christian Brooks, your top 10.
Tell you what, it's great to see Trent Estep moving up here to the senior ranks, Chris. As you know, he's under the CUNY USA tent. You guys have been working with him. He had such a phenomenal season in junior last year, the inaugural U.S. Open champion in Junior Max, that makes the move up to senior, and he really hasn't missed much of a beat. He's running solidly in the top 10, darn near the top 5 every weekend in Senior Max so far.
Yeah, obviously that's a tough transition. You know, when you have a dominant year where you've got the pace to take advantage and lead all season long in junior, then to step up and race against some of these guys, the Garrisons, the DeMellos, Lennox, Kirkwood, it's a different world. It really is. And having speed is one thing, but being able to race with them, that's a whole nother. As you see here, I mean, this lead group has been led by 6 to 7 different drivers in the last 3 laps. None of them want to lead the pack. They all want to get in line. They all want to get the air. And so now drivers still trying to slot back in, as you see both Estep and Holden down on the bottom, down on the front straightaway, looking for a spot to kind of blend in, you could say. Nothing changing up front. Garrison, Mazzafaro, DeMello.
Well, and as those drivers look for a spot to blend in, Chris, you said something at the start of this session that I think is really interesting that I want to talk about as we have about 2.5 minutes to go here in this Senior Max qualifier. You talked about how it was a little bit more cut and dry last weekend during Rock Cup USA competition, and you just mentioned it. You have a different guy leading the session here in Senior Max almost every lap. Right now it's Garrison. It's been DeMello. Malukas is up at the front, and Jordan Lennox led him out of the gate. there are so many variables at play in Senior Max, in Junior Max, Mini Max. All of our Rotax classes are filled with some great drivers, and I think it's very up in the air in all of our classes this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, every session that I've seen, no matter what class it was, whether from micro to masters, to be honest with you, they've all had 3 to 4 definite, leaders in their group with another 3 or 4 that could easily take over the reins. And I think the racing around the Ocala Grand Prix bull ring this weekend is going to show some of the best that you'll see all year long.
Certainly, that's why the Florida Winter Tour comes here every season. The excitement never dull. Austin Garrison on top with less than a minute and a half to go. 36.722. The top time, Gianfranco Mazzafaro, he ran well in Rock Shifter last weekend. He's running very well here in an ultra-competitive Senior Max category. Mazzafaro with a 36.8 is second. And then you have Kyle Kirkwood. He's got a 36.853. He's currently sitting third. Then DeMello and Malukas. What a run for David Malukas. Another driver moving up to senior. And, man, not missing a beat. The kid is fast everywhere he goes. Then you see Lennox, Sherritt, Estep, Holden, and Brooks. Your top 10, a little bit of shuffling right there. Darren Keene out of Orsalon Racing bumps his way up into the 9th position. Holden now 10th as they continue to shuffle here. Less than 45 seconds to go here in the session.
Yeah, that's it. By Keene moves up into the 9th spot. Estep up into 7th. So Estep with a 36.9, Keene with a 36.9. If you look at the top 10, Zach Holden and the Triple Deuce Deuce holding on to that spot. 0.27 separates 1st and 10th. I mean, it's definitely tight out there, Tony Laporta.
Here come a few of our lead pack drivers. Kirkwood's going to peel off and hit the scale line. He is done. 20 seconds at the clock as Darren Keene comes across the line, followed by Matt Solarczyk, Jordan Lennox. Solarczyk coming off a trip to Portimao, Portugal last season as a representative for Team USA. Matt Solarczyk racing out of the Oakland Valley Race Park pit this weekend with Chi-Chi and the gang over there from upstate New York. Checkered flag is going to fly now as we have reached 0 on the clock. Garrison with a 36.7. Now, Chris, the exciting part, does anybody on their final flyer have anything here for Garrison as our drivers start to make their way to the checkered flag?
So the first one will be Jordan Lennox and have Trenton Estep in tow as they will hit the stripe, heads down. Estep's going to bump to 5th, so Estep up to P number 5 now. A few more drivers here trying to do the dirty and pick up a few clicks on the stopwatch. So it looks like Estep's going to be the big taker on the final one. That should leave it with Austin Garrison, your provisional pole sitter. Gianfranco Mazzafaro second, Kyle Kirkwood third, Zachary DeMello fourth, Trenton Estep fifth, David Maluka sixth, Jordan Lennox seventh, Jordan Sherritt eighth, Darren Keene ninth, and Zach Holden rounding out your top 10, Tony.
And then you got Christian Brooks on the new CRG running very well. Every weekend, Christian and his dad, Chris, are figuring that chassis out. They're going to be in the top 10 this weekend. Of that, there is no doubt. Matt Solarczyk, 12th on the Fernando Alonso. Rollison Performance Group driver Luke Selikin ends up 13th. He had a great run in Homestead last month. Watch out for him. Lane Vicala on the comp cart is 14th. And then Diego Dominguez rounds out your top 15. Team DKC driver Connor Ford 16th. Justin Orviero 17th. Nicholas Hornbostel 18th. Sterling Fairman and Davide Greco round out the top 20. As you see a cool shot of our drivers as they hit the scale line, popping out of their carts, losing the helmets. They're going to get ready to scale those carts and head to Tech. Coming up next on track, it will be our Mini Max drivers as they will take time for qualifying up on track momentarily. Want to give a shout out, of course, to all of our sponsors. Sofina Foods, the title sponsor of all Max Speed promoted events this season. Fixie Wheels is your presenting sponsors. Motorsport.com is the official media partner of the Florida Winter Tour US Open and the US Rotax Max Grand Nationals. And, of course, Ritmo Mundo, the official timekeeper of Max Speed. Someone needs to get Shelby Jocelyn a Ritmo Mundo watch, don't you think, Chris?
That would only make sense since she is the keeper of the time on the racetrack.
She's keeper of all things. Secrets, time, everything.
And all the red Gatorade in Ocala.
So as our Mini-Max drivers begin to hot lap here, I guess that's a dirt track term. They're not really hot lapping, they're qualifying.
So speaking of which, Tony Laporte, I'm going to take you tonight.
All right.
Little USAC National Sprint Car Racing going on.
Down at Bubba?
Down here at Bubba. I'm going to show you what running the top's all about. I'm going to show you what a hot lap's all about. I'm going to show you what a hucklebuck looks like. I'm going to show you what being too tight getting in and 2, nose heavy getting off looks like.
I found out about all that yesterday, Chris, because I took a rock shifter cart with Tim Hannon to Putnam County Speedway, a 5/8 mile dirt oval, a little bit south of here, and I got sideways in 3rd gear.
Yeah.
I had a great time yesterday.
It's a beautiful thing.
Driving on dirt.
Living life in the dirt. Meanwhile, Mini-Max starting to heat things up.
Matias Morgado, the driver that we always seem to be talking about here in the mini ranks, whether it's Rock or Max, Mini Rock or Mini Max, Matias Morgado on that 162 AM chassis, he's always a factor. Jade Hubert out of PK Sports, she goes purple now and takes over the top spot. Miss Hubert with a 39.243. No, now it's Oregon's Austin Torgerson out of Medford, Oregon. The monster truck driver to be, Austin Torgerson, lays down a 39.1. Jade Hubert falls to 2nd, then it's Jetpack Jack Crawford in 3rd. Caleb Bacon, I love that name, in 4th. And Andrew Masel, 5th here as the laps start to get laid down. Yuvan Sundramurthy is 6th with Chloe Chambers, Cash Tyner, Giovanni, and Morgado. Change at the top. It's OGP driver Tyler Gonzalez, and he brings Arias Duke Medjin with him, Chris. Arias Duke Medjin running pretty well. Is it a coincidence that we see Greg Bell in the pits this weekend?
Definitely not a coincidence that the big fellow from Northern California is back on the grounds this weekend with Mr. Duke Medjin, and I think that will show off some goodness. More than Greg Bell shows off those big guns in a tank top.
Oh, man. He is a sight. We're going to see exactly what Greg can get done here for Arias Duke Medjin. More shaking up at the front. Matias Morgado on top. Here comes Gonzalez, though, at the line. He bests him. 38.911, and he brings Duke Medjin with him. Another OGP driver, Jeremy Fairbairn, slips to 4th, as Jade Hubert goes P3. Noel Leon, now Austin Torgerson. There's so much shuffling in this class. Honestly, sometimes I think we'd just be better to let him run and then read you the names once the checkered flag flies. There goes Morgado again across the line. He's good for 3rd. How about Tyner? He's a little bit farther down, 16th. Cash Tyner in the 166. Let's see what group of drivers we have coming out of the final corner here across the line. That should be the 157 of Gonzalez, and he takes it to the top. No, it's Cody Crucker, 38.671. Danger zone. The kid's driving pretty good.
He goes purple there at that 38.671 as we watch on track to see who's shaking and who's moving. In your words, who's rocking and who's rolling?
Those would be my words last weekend at Rock Cup USA. Who's pushing it to the max this weekend here at the Rotax Max Challenge portion of the Winter Tour, Chris?
You are, as Crucker's still on top. That'll be Gonzalez, Duke Medjin, Sebastian Montoya into the 4th spot, then Caleb Bacon rounding out the top 5. Check that. Gonzalez to the top. Fairbairn's going to join him. So Tyler Gonzalez leads OGP 1, 2, 3 here in Mini Max qualifying. Well, here's the situation. If you're looking at Race Monitor, you've got 2 first-place drivers. The fact is, Jeremy Fairbairn actually in first, 38.631 to Gonzalez's 38.634. So Fairbairn leading the OGP train here.
You know, I saw Austin Miles yesterday, Chris Wheeler from Ocala Grand Prix, and he is the manager of the Mini Max and the Mini Rock division, or the Mini programs here at Ocala Grand Prix, and I asked him how they look for the weekend. He said, you know what, I think we could sweep the podium. And I said, you know what, if you do that, Austin, you understand we're going to have a sit-down 60-minute style interview with the leader of the Mini program. And he said, no, I don't think so. We'll let the kids do the talking. But right now, that Mini program headed up by Austin Miles is running phenomenally. Tyler Gonzalez, Jeremy Fairbairn, and Cody Crucker. As you see, Fairbairn is on top with the 38.631. Even Race Monitor is confused. Gonzalez now goes back, 38.490. Gonzalez on top. There goes Jade Hubert. What about Fairbairn and Crucker? Where are they? Let's see. Austin Torgerson down on the inside looking for some space in the 181. There goes Yuvan Sundramurthy out of the Oakland Valley Race Park tent. And Chris, did Fairbairn and Crucker pull off?
I know.
there they are.
We now see them. It appears that they are in line all together here as they come through the showcase corner.
Following Duke Medjin.
So Duke Medjian on point as far as the on-track group. Then it'll be Fairbairn, then Crucker, then Gonzalez.
Fairbairn didn't have anything for Gonzalez that time by. Fairbairn a 38.695 last time at the line. Gonzalez's best of 38.4, but it still remains OGP drivers who currently occupy the top 3 spots here.
So just under 6 minutes remain here in qualifying. You see drivers trying to shuffle around on the backside, coming off turn number 6 now through 7, trying to get in line, get a little reset, take a deep breath. Duke Medjian now, I believe, is going to let Crucker lead the group. In fact, he does. Now, looks like Tyner is going to move to the front of the group. These guys are playing some pretty high-speed chess out here, Tony Laporte. It's hard to keep track of them. Just to head off into the distance, turn number 3. Try and figure out who's going to settle in. Now, what they keep forgetting is every time they want to move positions, they're wasting a lap.
Yep, exactly. They're wasting a lap, and they're burning up just a little bit more of that oh-so-precious Mojo rubber on those tires, and it's not wise, in my humble opinion, to get side by side and be playing too much race car driver right now. You just need to get out by yourself and qualify, lay down smooth lap by yourself. That's another reason why our national race director Chris Egger reminds these drivers in all classes to be respectful of other karts on flying laps. Should you pull out of the pack trying to slow down, find some space, and you pull back out onto the racing line in front of a driver laying down a fast lap, if the officials catch that, that will be a removal of your fastest lap in the session. And as wide as Ocala Grand Prix is, it's a good rule to have because you're going to have a lot of kids hanging down on the bottom. But the good news is it's very wide here, ample room. Kids are giving each other a lot of space, and that's the positive here in qualifying.
So just about 4 minutes, 10 seconds remain here in qualifying. Tyler Gonzalez out in front. Jeremy Fairbairn, Cody Crucker, Matias Morgado, Sebastian Montoya, your top 5.
Jack Crawford sure has that energy cart wound up and looking good. They're right there on the cusp of cracking this thing as he goes green. His best lap of the session. It's a 38.652. The Houston Texan driver making sure that he is a factor in all of our heat races today. There goes Fairbairn at the line. He does not improve, 38.801. His best lap, a 38.6, but I don't think anybody's got anything for Gonzalez here, Chris, as we come up on less than 3.5 minutes to go. 38.490 for Gonzalez. The difference, about 1/10 of a second in lap times back to Jeremy Fairbairn.
So,
Gonzalez is flying.
Well, Montoya now on the move in the 158.
Oh, yeah.
Montoya to P3, 38.646. Had a chance to check out Team Montoya a little bit this weekend, talking with Sebastian's father and some of the staff members over there, and the growth of that team just in 12 months as far as personnel and size and customers, and talk about the development and the growth on that end of it. And they've done a fantastic job working very hard to enhance that program. And you can see young Sebastian Montoya showing it off here as he is now 3rd on the charts.
Yeah, Montoya's kart coming in right when it matters the most. Pretty impressive there. Rest of our top 5 sees Cody Crucker in 5th, Morgado in 6th, Torgerson in 7th, Jade Hubert 8th, Andrew Masel, and Arias Duke Medjin still in 10th. And it's funny, Chris, last weekend during Rock Cup, I saw Dr. Duke Medjin, Arias' dad, and I asked him how things were going back on Friday of Rock Cup. And he said, you know what, we're not fast right now, but we're probably going to be fast when it matters, and that's how most of our weekends go. And I said, well, you know what, I guess it's better than the alternative than being fast early and not fast when it matters. So the point is, right now Duke Medjin hanging on right there in 10th position, but by the time we get to our pre-final Sunday morning, I would bet you anything that Duke Medjin and Greg Bell and those guys are going to have that cart hooked up and on rails. Less than 2 minutes to go here in qualifying. Caleb Bacon lays down his best lap of the race at 38.7. Fernando Barrichello is 13th. Chambers and Yuvan Sundramurthy, your top 15. Yuvan Sundramurthy racing out of the OVRP pit, being tuned on by the one and only James Dyer. So if you're at the OVRP pit or you're walking around the Minimax grid this weekend, make sure you stay away from the tuner, the 145, James Dyer. He's a tough dude, and and he's going to work on getting Sundaramurthy's cart set up to be as fast as possible. I think Juven will do good this weekend despite the fact that James is tuning on that go-kart.
So about a minute, 15 seconds remain here on the clock. No changes in your top 5. Gonzalez, Fairbairn, Montoya, Crawford, and Crucker.
The clock strikes, 1 minute to go here as we still have quite a few drivers out on track. Fernando Barrichello, where does he come from? 38.876. Wow, Chris, what a lap as he breaks up this OGP top 2 we had.
Well, as a little reminder,
He
Barrichello
is
is with OGP.
That's right.
So, in fact, what he did is he reinstated
The top 3.
the OGP train 1, 2, 3 here.
Right after we lost Cody Crucker down outside the top 5, Fernando Barrichello pitting with his dad and brother under the OGP pit. You're very correct. So Austin Miles, your mini program is running pretty well, brother. And as we near the end of this session, 20 seconds to go, Gonzalez, Barrichello, Fairbairn, the first non-OGP driver is Sebastian Montoya on the Burrell in 4th. And it's Jack Crawford on the Energy in 5th. The clock hits 10 seconds remaining. Our first driver to the checkered flag. Let's see what it's going to be. It may be Sundaramurthy. No. 3, 2, 1. Now the clock strikes 0, and we have quite a bit of time till we see our first driver pick up the checkered flag. Here comes Fairbairn and Gonzalez. Does Jeremy Fairbairn have anything for Fernando Barrichello? Does Gonzalez open the gap up at all? At the line, it's Gonzalez and Fairbairn. No. Fairbairn stays 3rd. Barrichello is going to stay 2nd. And Gonzalez is going to stay right on pole.
So I believe that Gonzalez actually removed himself from the circuit a few laps ago. That was actually
Cody
the 127 of Cody Crucker. So hard to tell them apart, both with the white helmet, both with the matching decals. But nothing changing up top. Tyler Gonzalez with a time of 38.490 is going to take that provisional pole.
Great lap for Tyler Gonzalez. So Austin Miles, your Mini-Max program on rails here, brother. We can't wait to have you come into the booth and tell us just how you engineered those Mini-Max drivers. To the front, Gonzalez on pole, Barrichello 2nd, Fairbairn 3rd, Montoya and Crawford are your top 5. Cody Crucker has a good session, as it was in fact him leading Jeremy Fairbairn. Cody Crucker not Tyler Gonzalez. Crucker ends up 6th, Mergado 7th, Torgerson 8th, Leon 9th, and Miss Jade Hubert from PK Sports rounds out your top 10. Duke Medjin is 11th. Don't expect him to stay there long, folks. Andrew Masel 12th. Caleb Bacon in 13th. Chloe Chambers and Juven Sundaramurthy round out the top 15. Then it's Dale Curran, Elio Giovanni, Cash Tyner, and Luke, man, I'm not even going to try to say that last name, Luca Berazutegi. Woo! That's what we'd call a $5 word. Mini-Max qualifying is done. Stick with us, folks. You're watching live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour, brought to you by Fixie Wheels. So on track now, it is our next qualifying session of the morning. It's the Falcon GP Masters Max drivers. Man, I can't wait to go to a dirt track tonight with Chris Wheeler. I hope he remembers that he invited me and I get a ride. That is going to be totes fun. There's a few of the drivers out here in Masters Max qualifying. Michelle Aboisa, Daniel Robertson, John Robichaux, Alessandro De Luca, Scott Roberts, your reigning U.S. Grand Nationals champion, Christoph Adams. That's funny. In DD2 Masters, he's 5'5", and in Masters Max, he's 6'6". He likes one number, especially when he gets to have it 3 times on his go-kart. Scott Roberts, quick driver out early on here, 41 with a 0.77 on the back. He's got a lot more company this time as they come out of the final corner, down the front straightaway. Let's meet your Masters Max drivers. Nick Tucker from Rollison Performance Group. He's racing out of a team from the West Coast. Nick lives on the East Coast in North Carolina, if I do remember correctly. But he's down here in South Florida flying 38.713. Christoph Adams in the 666 is second. Roberts third. Pistol Pete is fourth. And then Michelle Aboisa rounds out your top 5 here. Bobby Green, big Bobby Green. Team USA member from 2014 when we went to Valencia, Spain for the grand finals. Bobby Green showing up a little late yesterday, rolled in. Thank you so much as we take a look at our schedule. This is Masters Max. Coming up next will be Micro Max Group 1. There's so many Micro Max drivers, folks. We had to split them because the bull ring here at Ocala Grand Prix, man, it's not big enough for that much fun. So we're going to let the Micro Max drivers and the Junior Max drivers qualify separately. There's a good shot of Bobby Green in the all-white suit. Man, he is fresh to death, as the kids say. Let's see what he can do here on the lap times. Aboisa goes purple, 37.892. That's good enough. What about Bobby Green? He stays in 7th. De Luca 8th, and then Robertson in 9th. There's a shot of the chicane. I believe our officials are not counting that as a turn. That's going to be the chicane, the section of the track you see on your monitor right there. The left-hander following it right there at the far end of your screen is turn number 2. And then the corner near your monitor is turn number 3. Then they hit a U-turn, the hairpin. Then they hit turn 4. That shot right there is them coming out of 5, heading to 6. And then the U-turn, the showcase right there is turn number 7. Falcon GP bringing you our Masters Max action this weekend. Aboisa ran very well in Homestead last month. He's trying to do the same here, 37.7 on the back. He is on top at the moment. Adams is second. Scott Roberts is third. As you see a shot of what would be turn 3. There goes Bobby Green driving away from you. Nick Tucker making his Rotax debut last month in Homestead, Miami. Again, pitting out of the Rollison Performance Group 10. I believe Raleigh has a few drivers with him, only one in Masters Max this weekend. Luke Selikin is one of his drivers in Senior Max. And then you can never count out Josh Jazz Hands Pearson, originally out of Wilsonville, Oregon, is where the young man hails from. He was our winner in Homestead 1 month ago. It was here at Ocala Grand Prix that actually Josh was leading one of the heat races when he pulled off coming to the checkered flag into the scale line. But you know what? His dad, Greg, says don't expect him to make that mistake again because for Christmas, his mom, Janelle, made Josh flag flashcards. And they held him up in front of Josh all Christmas morning and said, what does the green flag mean? He said, go. They said, what does the white flag mean? He said, 1 lap to go. Then pull into the scales. And Janelle would shove him and say, no, it means you go until you see the checkered flag. And Josh learned. And you're not going to see him making that mistake here. He's waiting until he sees the checkered flag, and then he's not going to pull in until the cart runs out of gas. He ran so well in Homestead last month. It's been awesome to see how far Josh has come in just under a year. He is a mainstay when it comes to the West Coast. The kid is always up front, and there is no surprise that when he comes out east, he is fast as well. Aboisa is on top. Scott Roberts second, Adams third. Pistol Pete and Bobby Green now into the top 5. Big Bobby Green cracks the top 5. Adams goes purple, 37.970. That's confusing because Aboisa has a 37.7. So Adams technically not purple. No, he is 37.758. He is 2/100ths of a second quicker than a Boysa. On Race Monitor, it shows them tied currently for the top spot. But here at the Florida Winter Tour, there can only be one. And right now, that one is Christoph Adams. 2 minutes remaining in the session here. This is Masters Max. Coming up next will be Micromax Group 1. Micromax Group 1 drivers, you need to be on the grid. Here's a great live look at the front straightaway. That's a finish line camera. You'll be able to see all the fantastic battles and drag races down to that finish line this weekend. We got one round of heat races coming up following qualifying, and then we will be done for the afternoon here at Ocala Grand Prix. You'll be able to meet the Max Speed staff at the famous establishment here in Ocala, Murphy's, where they'll be enjoying themselves some Gator. Scott Roberts just trying to do everything he can to crack that top two and qualify himself onto the front row. Last time by Roberts, a 38.0. Boysa, the time he's trying to beat is a 37.7. Roberts is right there, as we all have run 10 laps here in our qualifying session. DeLuca, Green, Robichaux, Tucker, Pistol Pete, Roberts, Boysa, and Adams all are on lap number 11 currently. Let's see who we got here. It should be the 6:08 of a Boysa coming down the line here. Let's see at the line. It is a Boysa. Does he have anything? He goes green, his best lap. What about Roberts? No. Roberts stays third. A Boysa stays second, and Pistol Pete, he stays in fourth. Christoph Adams on the Burrell. Let's find him, as he is right behind Scott Roberts. Those drivers making their way through the switchbacks now. They head for the tree turn. Here comes a Boysa. 20 seconds remaining. A Boysa, Roberts, and Adams should all get one more lap here as they see 15 seconds to go. Here comes a Boysa. Does he have anything? 37.7. Last time by, no, he backstopped to a 37.9. 10 seconds on the clock. Roberts, Christoph Adams all make it around. There goes Bobby Green. Checkered flag is going to come out in 3, 2, 1. There's the checkered. First driver two. It's Nick Tucker. His session is done. He's going to stay right there in 5th place. So the top drivers still on their last flying lap here. Boysa, the guy in second. He's trying to make one last stab here at the top. No, he's going to pull it off. Hand up in the air. Roberts goes around the outside. Christoph Adams goes around the outside. They come to the line. Does Roberts have anything for the front row? No, but Adams does. He goes purple and takes the top spot. 37.756. He remains on top. Great lap. 37.756, Christoph Adams. Boysa ends up P2. And it's going to be Roberts third, Pistol Pete, and Nick Tucker round out your Fast Five here, as we have our Micromax drivers, Group 1 coming up. Adams gets the pole, Boysa second, Roberts third, Frischke, Tucker your Fast Five. Then it's Robichaux, Bobby Green, and DeLuca. Daniel Robertson only got in one lap of qualifying. There you see there you see Scott Roberts, Boysa, Pistol Pete, and Bobby Green as they head to the scale line. Those drivers are done. Micromax coming up next. Shelby, I have a question. It says Christoph Adams went purple, meaning the last lap he ran would have been the lap he went purple on. His last lap shows a 38.5, but his best lap is a 37.5. What do you show as his last lap? Okay, just because Race Monitor went purple, but it shows me his last lap was a 38.5. It's wrong? Right, I just don't understand why they're not the same. Can you refresh? Thank you. And just like a herd of tiny stampeding buffaloes here in Florida, something you're not going to see very often, it is our Micromax drivers This is group number 1. We got a lot of drivers in this category. Alex Papao, Ethan Donkers, Nikita Johnson. Man, Nikita Johnson ran so well in Mini Rock last weekend, right up until a little bit of bad luck struck in the final. Nikita Johnson was in the number 7 Fernando Alonso kart, and back in that kart is Johnson, just with a Rotax power plant strapped on the back of it. So keep an eye out for the 7, because, wow, Nikita Johnson was super fast last weekend here in Micro Rock. Alex Jankowski was another driver we talked about a lot, and Brent Cruz in the number 11. Brent Cruz, always a threat no matter where we go. You got Granger Pera, Ian Atwart, Jesse Carrasquedo, Miles Hewitt. A lot of big names here in our Group 1 qualifier for Micro Max. I'm probably going to slip up sometime this weekend and call them Micro Rock. I don't mean to. AM Racing Engines, Ariel, and the folks over at AM stepping up to sponsor Micro Max. We sure do appreciate it. All of our class sponsors. Ocala Grand Prix in Mini Max. I'm sorry, PSL karting in Mini Max. Kuna USA in Junior Max. Rollison Performance Group in Senior Max. Falcon GP in Masters. And then Mojo Tires is your class sponsor in DD2 and DD2 Masters. Early on, first lap is going to go to Morcillo Lorenzo. 41.528 that time by Granger Pera and Alex Jankowski are going to go to work on trying to lay down a better lap here. This is Mini Max Group number 1 on track. Let's see what some of our leaders have to say here. Carrasquedo, Andres Asmar. Asmar moves up to 2nd. He follows Jankowski. 41.111 for Jankowski. He goes purple. Quickest driver on track. Asmar is 2nd. Brent Cruz 3rd. Lorenzo and Atwart, your top 5 here early on in our long 12-minute Micromax qualifier. If you love Micromax and Minimax qualifying, these long 12-minute sessions are for you. They're just going to qualify and qualify and qualify. And then when you think they're done qualifying, they're going to qualify some more. So this is Micro Max Group number 1 qualifying. Let's take a look at some of the players in the field right now. Brent Cruz, like I said at the start of the session, you're always going to have to keep Brent Cruz in mind. Here's the thing, folks. There's a lot of drivers showed up this weekend in Micro Max and Junior Max. Okay, what that means is too many drivers than we could put on the track at one time for all of them to get a clean and fair shot at qualifying. So what we did is in that 3rd round of practice this morning, teams showed up. They had 3 rounds of practice to get the karts right for qualifying, to get them set up or dialed in, as Stepanova Nikhil would say. He's all about dialing. You'll be able to catch Stepanova dialing Derek Wang's kart next weekend in Phoenix, Arizona at the Rotax Challenge of the Americas as they visit PKRA. So if you're there, stop by and watch Stepanova dial. He's one of the best to do it. But as teams were here this weekend, they were dialing carts in, setting them up in the practice sessions this morning for qualifying. In round number 3, the last group of practice for our Micromax and our Junior Max drivers, they were timed. The lap times in that third practice session determined whether you'd be in the fast group for qualifying or the slow group for qualifying, okay? And we don't like to use the word slow here at Max Speed. We just like to use the phrase not as fast as some of the other drivers. So you have 2 different groups. What's going to happen is once these 2 groups have qualified, we've just split them up so they each have fair amount of track time to lay down consistent and fast laps. Once they're all done, we will combine the 2 and sort them out and set the starting grid for our heat races. All right. You're going to see kids from this grid, this group out on track right now, racing up at the front. Brent Cruz, Andres Asmar, Jankowski are all kids that just are in this group of qualifying for whatever reason. They might have missed it a little bit in practice, but just because they're in this group does not mean they're not going to be a factor once we get to these heat races. Brent Cruz was fighting for the top 5 and near the front for the win in Micro Rock last weekend. The kid is here in Group 2 qualifying, but that doesn't mean a thing for when it gets time to go racing, man. It's not where you start, obviously. It's where you finish. 12 minutes of qualifying is a long session, and we're just past halfway. Brent Cruz goes green, 40.603. They're all chasing Andres Asmar. He's on top. Jankowski is third. Kanto and Papau, your top 5. Nikita Johnson on the FA cart is 6th. Marcelo Lorenzo was up at the front earlier, now runs 7th. Granger Pera, Pedro Caparelli, and Jesse Carrasquedo are your top 10. Ian Aguilar-Etuart is 11th. Rodrigo Sanchez is 12th. Miles Hewitt, Jorge Ortiz, and Ethan Donkers, the top 15. That's a fun name to say, Ethan Donkers. I also enjoy saying that. I'm going to make a list one day of all the best names in karting. Ethan Donkers will probably make the cut. Obviously, Caleb Bacon will be in there. There's so many great names in karting, and especially when you come down here to Florida, so many different cultures, so many different people, so many different heritages and walks of life. It's awesome. I know I don't say them right all the time, but darn is it fun. 4.5 minutes to go here. Micro Max Group number 1. Out on track now. Group 2 will qualify next. They are our slightly faster drivers from this afternoon's practice sessions. So you'll see some of the names you're a little bit more familiar to hearing. Don't forget, folks, if you are watching live, be sure to send us a shout out from wherever you're from. Let us know where you're watching from, what you're doing, how your day is going, what you had for lunch. That email address is live@floridawintertour.com. And, man, we've already got a few shout-outs here. Let's see who a few of these are for. That's a Micro Rock driver shout-out. Frankie Ayadavea getting a shout-out. He's not here anymore. He's back home in New York. But he did great last weekend. How about shout-out to Michael and Nicholas. Good luck and great racing. That's from Grandma and Grandpa. Hey, but I bet they still wish him good luck this weekend. We want to say hi and wish good luck to SVK Motorsport Team with his driver, Luis Chiavo, number 546 in DD2 Masters, and Martin Verasso. Thanks, Javier. So that's from Javier Alberto Penaloza. We got another one here wishing Dale Curran the best of luck today from Canada. Lots of love from Mom, Dad, and Taylor. Go get him, little man. That's Dale Curran Jr. getting some love. And that's all of our shout-outs, I believe. Are they? Man, we sure appreciate it. Everybody watching live, wherever you're at on this Friday afternoon. We hope you're having fun. We sure appreciate you spending some of it with us. And, man, the racing is just going to be awesome this weekend in all of our Rotax Max Challenge categories. I understand that United States Rotax Max Challenge Administrator Andy, don't call me Seisman, is watching live from the West Coast. Andy, all of your Best Coast homies are sending you a little bit of love. Shelby Jocelyn just blew me a kiss. Maybe she wants it to go to you. I'm not sure. Mark Michonne's in the steward's office giving kids candy. Taylor Jocelyn's screwing something up somewhere, I'm sure. And Chris Eggers in the middle of the track looking for hearing aid batteries. So, Andy, we wish you were here. And I'm sure Challenge is going to be an absolute blast next weekend out there in Phoenix. Nearing the end of Micromax qualifying group number 1, minute and a half to go here. Less than that, actually. Yeah, just about a minute and a half to go. Andres Asmar stays on top. Brent Cruz, Jankowski, Pedro Caparelli, and Isaac Canto. Your top 5. Not much change in those top positions. Papau is still in 6th. Nikita Johnson, Marcelo Lorenzo, Granger Pera, and Jesse Carrasquedo. Your top 10. Carrasquedo, that's another really cool name. A live look at the chicane. Now turns 2 and 3. The left-hander, they make it. Then into the switchback. That's the hairpin. Out of 6, they head for 7. Over the dogleg, turn number 8. Then to the showcase, turn number 9. And that's a lap here at Ocala Grand Prix. Less than a minute to go here. Micromax Group 2 drivers need to be on the grid as their qualifier is up next. So as the checkered flag waves here in Micromax Group number 1 qualifying, that 12-minute qualifier is done. Andres Asmar gets the most out of it. He laid down 17 laps. His best lap came on his 11th circuit. It was a 40.522, and it's good enough to earn him the provisional pole here as we complete group number 1 qualifying. Brent Cruz was second in the number 11 cart. He also laid down 17 laps. Nearly all of our kids, in fact, I believe all of them, completed 17 laps except for Ethan Donkers. They all stayed out for the full session and picked up 17 laps before the checkered flag flew. Asmar on top, Brent Cruz second, Jankowski third, Caparelli and Canto, your fast 5. You realize we have another Micromax qualifier still to go. And they all come flooding out of the chute all at once, man. The pit lane here at Ocala Grand Prix, the grid is nice and wide, and they use it. as they enter onto the track here. It is our Micromax Group 2 qualifiers making their way on their out lap around the track. We will start to see lap times coming up here in about 1 minute when they complete their first flyer. Out of the tree turn over the dog leg, we will see our leaders, guys in this class: Justin Arsenault, Diego Cantecho, Rafael Camara, Karsten DeFont, Emo Fittipaldi, Juan Pablo Cepeda, Brandon Tyner, to name a few. Justin Arsenault, first driver across the line. Karsten DeFont with a 41.869. The Connecticut driver showing the way early. Arsenault with Ben Cooper Racing slips to second. And it's Rafael Camara on the AM down into third. New driver didn't take long. Jazz hands, Josh Pearson, the Northwest driver. This kid's got it figured out, man. Jumps to the top, 1 lap out, 41.560. He brings James Agozi with him. So James Agozi pulling a little bit of back-to-back racing over the last 2 weeks here in Florida. Ran Micro Rock last weekend, and now he's up and ready to go in Micro Max. But these guys better get ready because they've got a storm of very fast kiddos behind them, and lap times get lower and lower each time out. Cepeda now at 40.761 goes purple. No, it's Josh Pearson back on top. Josh Pearson proving that the win in Homestead was not a fluke. The Wilsonville, Oregon driver. I saw his dad, Greg, sitting in the bleachers down by turn 1 during the second group of qualifying, which ran first, looking for old Greg Pearson now. He's probably pacing somewhere. There goes Karsten DeFont and Justin Arsenault at the line. Nobody has anything for the 40.6 of Pearson. Where exactly is little Josh Pearson? Out of the final corner down the straightaway. Here he is. Let's see what he's got here in the number 14. Does he improve? No. Backs it off just a hair. He stays on top, though. Then it's Cepeda in second. Torgerson's racing out of Medford, Oregon. Couple of Can-Am Karting Challenge drivers. Kids we see battle all the time up in the Pacific Northwest. Well, now they're doing the dance here in the Southeast. Karsten DeFont from Connecticut is fourth. And then Santiago Trisney rounds out your Fast Five. Here comes the lead pack down the straightaway. It's going to be DeFont and Arsenault. No, Arsenault now out in front, and he goes purple, 40. Cepeda, 40.445. Cepeda on the Burrell out of the United States, 40.445. Cepeda on top, bumps Pearson down a spot to second, 40.480. Josh Pearson. As they come through the tree turn over the dogleg, it's going to be Arsenault, should be DeFont, and then I want to say that should be Rafael Camara in the 88. Let's see as they come across the line. Arsenault giving a tap to the helmet, DeFont, and then it is Camara in the 88, third in line. A little bit of shuffling. Cepeda stays on top, but Schianti now jumps to P2, brings Pearson with him to third. Arsenault falls all the way to fourth. Pearson goes purple, 40.616. The little dude not slowing down. He's looking to avenge for what happened here a year ago. As there's a bit of battling in the top three now. DeFont makes a move with shove from Camara. Camara, is he going to look to the inside? No. They're going to draft through the final corner out of the showcase, down the straightaway. 40.403 is what they've got to beat. What's it going to be? Arsenault does not go quicker. Pearson stays comfortably on top. And it is that Paige Crawford I saw go by? Yes, it is. Pearson at the line. Does he improve? Yes, he does. 40.286. Wow. The RPG driver not slowing down at all. Josh has got that thing hooked up. He's currently 1/10 of a second quicker than Juan Pablo Cepeda back there in P2. Here comes a big group. James Agozi needs to be careful. He's down on the inside trying to find some breathing room. The fast group's got to walk around him on the outside. Agozi slots back in right in front of Torgerson. Torgerson's going to look to the inside as they go down the straightaway into one. Does Pearson improve here on lap 7? Looking for Josh. Here he is at the line. Does he beat a 40.2? No, he backs it off to a 40.3. Coming up on halfway in our Micro Max Group 1 qualifier. They're all chasing the Northwest's Josh Pearson. Junior Max is up next as they will be on track now. Kamara gives Arsenault a big shove down the back straightaway. Arsenault, the Ben Cooper racing driver, just trying to get as much help as he can. Is there any change in the top 5 at the line? No. Arsenault goes green. Branyan Tyner jumps up to 6th, but it's not enough. Not enough to change anything in the top 5. Here comes Pearson. Does he improve? Yes, he does. 40.255. Josh Pearson. Just like I said about Oliver Askew, right now, Pearson has his foot on their throats here. Nearly 0.2 of a second the advantage from P1 back to P2 in lap times alone. They sent him out late. He went out at the back of the pack. He's left the grid all by himself, and it's working out perfectly. There comes Paige Crawford across the line. Does she improve? She stays right at about a 40.815. That's her best overall. She lays down a 41.0. It looks like last time at the stripe. Pearson backs off to a 40.289. His best lap, a .255. Still 5 minutes to go here in Micro Max qualifying. Junior Max drivers are up next. Don't know if we're going to see much change up here in the running order inside our top 5. The leaders come out of the final corner once again. Arsenault, does he do anything? Yes, he does. Arsenault makes a big move. Up to 2nd. The Ben Cooper racing driver out of Canada goes up to P2 after a great lap, 40.318, but Pearson answers right back by going purple, 40.253. The gap is a slim 6/100ths of a second, but no matter what the gap is, it's still a gap that Arsenault is trying to tighten up, eat into, whatever you want to say. Here comes Arsenault with about a 4-kart length advantage over second-place driver Rafael Kamara. Does Arsenault go quicker? Yes, he does. And James Agozi comes along, 40.338. Arsenault goes 40.1. What does Pearson say? At the line, Pearson a 40.201. That's his best lap, but it's not enough. James Agozi, the littlest of them all, now on top. On the Bennick, driver, the number 48. Florida driver getting in plenty of laps here on the Bennick. Finally answers the bell. 10 laps in. Arsenault went purple, but it was Agozi who's 4th in this pack as they come out of the final corner. It's a 40.338. What does Arsenault say? At the line. Agozi improves once again. No, Enzo Schianti now up to the top spot, 40.023. Paige Crawford at the line. Here comes Pearson. Pearson, you got to pull out something, buddy. He goes 40.183. But wow, is it close up at the top. Schianti coming outside the top 5 to go purple, 40.023. Schianti throws his hat into the ring. James Agozi in 2nd, pole sitter for 1 lap. Arsenault, Pearson, and Torgerson. Here comes that lead group one more time. Agozi doesn't have anything. He's got something, but it's not enough. 40.069. Pearson continues to reel in. Paige Crawford right in front of him. Josh is going to be able to move ahead of Arsenault into 3rd. But wow, Enzo Schianti with a 40 flat. And then you have Agozi with a 40.069. Pearson outside looking in. Kamara, Arsenault, and Agozi. 3rd, 2nd, and 1st in line. Agozi leads him down the back straightaway. Gets up to the right side of the track. Dives into the left-handed sweeper. In, now out of turn number 9. Coming down the straightaway. Does Agozi improve from a 40.069? No. It's a 40.4. Josh Pearson has made his way around Paige Crawford. Pearson, nothing going there. Still in 3rd. 2 minutes remaining on the clock exactly right now. 2 minutes to go. And the drama came between minutes 4 and 3. Here in Micro Max Group number 2. It's our faster of the 2. And man, is it the more competitive of the 2. There's a shot of our group Our lead group coming through the final corner. Kamara now out in front of DeFonts. Agozi now way back in the pack. He pulled out a line and let them all go by here. I think they may have gotten the good out of their tires here. I'm not sure what else these top three are going to be able to do in terms of lap time improvement. Wow, Carson DeFonts really just trying to keep Kamara behind him for the aero advantage, for the push, for the shove. Torgerson there as well. They're going to pull off. A lot of drivers hitting the scale line now. They've gotten what they've got. Yellow flag flying over there in that final corner, letting drivers know to slow down as they come into the pit lane. Schianti, Agozi, Pearson, Arsenault, and Torgerson. The Bennix looking strong here. Thanks to guys like James Agozi and Ashton Torgerson, two drivers inside of the top five. As, yeah, we did lose a whole bunch of drivers there to the scale house. That last time by about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 carts remain on track. 6 drivers. That is all. All the big names, it looks like, seem to have pulled out. Agozi still on track. Yes, he is. Out of the final corner, does Agozi have anything? We've lost 1, 2 more drivers, 3 drivers total. It's Arsenault and Agozi. Neither one of them that time by improved their position. 5 seconds remaining on the clock. Checkered flag is going to fly now. As Agozi and Arsenault work on their final flyer. Staying out this long, it's an interesting strategy. Let's see if they complete this lap, and if they do, will there be any change? Schianti, the driver they're all chasing, 40.023. Agozi's not going to hit the scale line, neither is Arsenault. Arsenault gives Agozi a shot into the final corner. In and out of the showcase turn at the line. Does Agozi have anything for Schianti? Let's see. No. 40.296, and Arsenault stays in third. Josh Pearson fourth, and Ashton Torgerson round out your fast five. Carson DeFonts, the Connecticut driver, ends up sixth with Rafael Kamara in the 88 in seventh. Jeremy Fletcher eighth. Juan Pablo Cepeda and Brandon Tyner are your top 10. And, man, I'm feeling great here as we head into Junior Max qualifying. Enzo Schianti gets it done. He's probably feeling pretty great as well. He ends it on top with a 40.023. And could you want to be anywhere else right now, folks? I don't think so. I know I couldn't imagine anywhere better to be than here, high above Ocala Grand Prix. Chris Wheeler, what a great weekend.
You know, the weather has been absolutely phenomenal here in Ocala, Florida, since we arrived some 12, 13 days ago.
Right.
And I'm really looking forward to the closing of round number 2, only because the racing in the finals is going to be on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it obviously has nothing to do with getting out of Ocala, Florida. We just want Sunday to get here to watch some awesome pre-final and final racing. The winds a little bit stronger today, it looks like, than they have been over the past couple days of practice. As you see your Mojo, Sofina Foods, Rotax, and XPS banners flying in the breeze here. One more class to go, Chris. It's Junior Max. Group 1 will be up first. They're the slower of the two groups, and then we will get to Group 2, which is the faster of the two groups. Who are you looking for to be a factor here in Junior Max qualifying?
It's hard to tell. You know, there's about 7 or 8 drivers, Tony, who have the opportunity to lead the way. As we pull up, I'm trying to pull up some timing reports here from earlier, that final session. There was majority of the drivers on new tires. And as I pull up my notes here, kind of behind the 8 ball,
You know, like the D'Orlandos, which is not a big surprise.
Well, obviously, you know, Nicholas was fast earlier, as was Michael, Matthias, Barrichello, Latifi, McDermott, DiFrancesco, Keel, Mills, and Hollingshead. Bruckner showed up just last night. Peyton Durant's come a long way. Killian Meyer, Zoe Edenholm, Riley Dickinson. That was your top 15. And, Tony, there's a lot of talent right there. And the best part is, top 15, 0.3 of a second. I mean, it is tighter than the lid of a pickle jar.
Those are tight. I always have to get help taking them off. As our first group of Junior Max drivers hit the track, you brought up one name there, Killian Meyer, who ran so well last month at Homestead up in the front. He's on the CRG this weekend. Killian Meyer, one driver that I think I'm honestly going to keep my eye on. You can keep your eyes on him if you'd like. I'm just interested to see how he does. He was very good in Homestead, but this is a completely different track than Homestead karting. Ocala Grand Prix much tighter in length, wider, obviously, in width. So we're going to find out what kind of driver Killian Meyer is. Last month was my first time getting to watch him. We'll see what he can do here in qualifying in Junior Max.
You know, yesterday, Tony, as well as a little bit this morning with my position at CUNY USA and the opportunities that we have with the staff that we have, I was able to time drivers outside of our tent, which is always a nice thing to do. And on the clock, every session, I had 2 drivers, Killian Meyer, Lachlan DiFrancesco. Both drivers showed so much speed here this week that they're both 2 that you got to look out for here when it comes to who's going to be able to go top spot.
Well, we have a few new names in Junior Max this season, and one of the other new names, along with Killian Meyer, that I remember personally talking a lot about last month in Homestead, Chris, was Arthur Least. He was a very strong force to be reckoned with last month. As we're starting to see lap times getting laid down here, Harry Colton in the 278 falls to third after Manuel Suleiman and Arthur Least bump him. But that's another driver, Harry Colton. We talked to him right before practice ended, as it looks like there's trouble for one driver. No, he's just getting it in gear, I guess. That's Stephen Malozzi out of the OVRP pit. He's taking a look over his shoulder, trying to find open track. As he stays down on the inside of the tram lanes, he pulls now back into line. Stephen Malozzi, he says his dad says his goal is just to be talked about during the race weekend. So we're talking about Stephen Malozzi and how he's doing in qualifying. Harry Colton was the driver I was talking about before we mentioned Malozzi. Harry Colton with Anderson Racing. The kid is practicing and working diligently with the guys over there at Anderson. And, yeah, he's in Group 1 right now, Chris, which is the slower of the two. But Harry Colton, not a kid I think you can ever count out. Such a respectful young man. It's nice to see that. And you know what? The kid can drive. He's just getting a few bad breaks here and there. But I really expect him to be a force here before too long.
You know, 2 drivers that really did surprise me to see in this group, Dylan Tavella on the 214 Bureau. Tavella very fast this week in practice. Definitely kind of caught me off guard, as well as the 222 of Max Hewitt. Hewitt, another driver who's shown a lot of speed last week and this week, fighting on some maybe racing luck, I guess you could call it here or there. But those are 2 drivers I expect to see excel beyond this group here in qualifying.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I think we have lots of drivers in this group, too, that you don't normally see. As Colton goes purple, 37.437. You talked about Dylan Tavella and Max Hewitt. They're second and third right now. And I got to say, I want to bring this up just because I think it's important to always mention the hard workers, the top 5. Wow, now you have Malozzi up to 5th. Hey, the kid wanted us to talk about him, and we're talking about him. Malozzi, 5th quick with a 37.644. That's awesome. So Steve Malozzi running well. But one driver, and one thing I just got to bring up, Chris, really quick, Dylan Tavella. I was over hanging out in the Iron Rock Motorsport pit a lot this weekend, talking to a lot of my friends over there under Charlie Swain's tent. And Phil Tavella, Dylan's dad's over there. And I just got to say, man, Dylan and Phil take this deal so seriously. You know, Phil has gone out and hired Oliver Askew to be Dylan's driver coach whenever Oliver is not racing himself. He's got Charlie Swain, who in my opinion is one of the best mini and micro driver coaches there is in the country right now. He's got the best tuners and mechanics working on Dylan's stuff, and he's got Dylan locked in. I mean, he was over there grilling Dylan 2 days ago on why he was hitting the curbs in turns 2 and 4, I believe, and he was not pulling any punches when he wanted to know what the kart was doing and why Dylan was clipping curbs in corners that he really shouldn't be. So all the credit and respect goes to a guy like Phil Tavella, who's holding his kid to a super high standard at this ultimate level of competition. It's crazy, folks. If you don't think these dads and these kids and these teams are taking this seriously, go hang out with the Tavellas, man. They take this sport very seriously, and it shows because Dylan is running so well this season. Yeah, he's in Group 1 in qualifying, but I can guarantee you he won't stay here for long. The kid's going to be very fast once we get into the heat races.
Well, you know, a wise man once said, Tony Laporta, if you reach your goals often, you're not making them high enough. And so to set the bar at the highest possible level and do everything you can to reach it is the only way to find true success.
And the Tavellas are always setting their goals a little bit higher week in and week out, and it's just cool to see the commitment that Phil and Dylan have to this sport. I really respect it and appreciate it. As we're coming up on 2.5 minutes to go here, Harry Colton doing a good job staying up at the top. Arthur Least on the Tony card is in second. Max Hewitt on the comp card third, and then Dylan Tavella, who we've been talking about, is fourth. Andres de Alba is in fifth. Dylan DeFonts, big brother to Karsten DeFonts, is in sixth. Jet Noland is in seventh out of PK Sports. Manuel Suleiman is eighth. Malozzi down to ninth, and then Nathan Ratton, your top 10. George Stojokovic, another name I just got to say, he's in 11th, as we're now looking at about 2 minutes to go in the session.
So now under 2 minutes, De Alba up into the second spot, gets around Tavella. 37,441 to a 37,442. Least fourth, Hewitt fifth. Check that Least to the top. So Arthur Least goes purple, 37,358.
You got to wonder what Jake and Ryan, the brain trust over at Anderson, are going to advise Harry Colton to do here. As he was on top, does he have anything for him here? There's Tavella at the line looking over his shoulder. Tavella not able to move up. Arthur Least, 37.3 in that number 288. Harry Colton was on top for so long. Now he's back in second, 37.369. We don't see any secretive hand movements or gestures coming from the top row of the bleachers. The Anderson Racing contingent just sitting back, calm, cool, collected, taking it all in as we have less than 40 seconds to go. Least a 37.349. Going to be tough to beat here, Chris, as we're now inside half of a minute to go. Group 1 qualifying, and really, Group 2 is going to be even more exciting than this nail-biter.
Yeah, Group 2 is definitely going to be a barn burner. No doubt about it. We watch the clock. 15 seconds remain. Cam Egger with the cloth in the hand. This is just a matter of time. He looks over at scoring. Going to get the final countdown here. 3, 2, and 1. Checkered flag in the air.
So it's going to be the 239 of Andres de Alba and the 214 at Tavella across the line. We're looking for Arthur Leist here. It looks like he has completed his 12th and final lap. There he is at the line. No improvement, but he stays on top. There goes Jet Noland and DeFonts. No change there. And the 249, that should be Emma Delartre. Number 13 is where she's going to start. The 287 of Marc-Antoine Poirier. No change at the top as our Group 1 drivers make their way off the track on the right-hand side to hit the scale line. Arthur Least getting it done with a time of 37.349. Chris, you wrote his name and his lap time down. Are you losing your memory?
Memory's definitely going quite a ways here, Tony Laporta, but that's not the purpose of this one as I continue to help train you to excellence here. That is
Boy, I hope you got a lot of time, my friend.
That is so we can see where he's going to stack up with Group 2 now without having to go back and forth within the Race Monitor app itself.
I don't know how to work Race Monitor. But Harry Colton gets it done second quick in our Group 1 qualifier, but they're all chasing Arthur Least, 37.349. And let's take a look at some of the drivers that you're going to meet here in Junior Max Group 2 qualifying. Matthew Latifi, Stephen Chapman is tuning on that cart. Stephen Chapman out of England. Prior to contrary belief, Zoe Edenholm with Kuna USA. Then you have Spencer Mills, Lachlan DiFrancesco, Riley Dickinson with Orsalon Racing. Riley coming out of the great state of Texas. I always am happy to see Riley and his dad Drew here racing. Zach Hollingshead, Peyton Durant from Utah, Eduardo Barrichello. Ryan McDermott was so fast last weekend in Rock Cup. He won the pole last month in Homestead and led our field down to the green flag in Miami last month. Matias Ramirez, who won in Rock Cup last weekend, Nicholas D'Orlando. Man, we have got a lot of big names here in group number 2, and they're already out on track laying down their first laps.
Yeah, you see some drivers pulling out here. You got both the Orlando brothers and Killian Meyer together. So that could set up for some fast laps. And then the drivers get to turn 3 and put on the parking brake. They come out and try and get some little bit of temperature built up and stand on the brakes and let the other guys go by so they can get the spot and positioning they want. But nonsense for Matias Ramirez. He's just going to keep his head down on the right foot, hard on that throttle pedal.
Eastbound and down. We're loading up and trucking in our last qualifying session of the day. Let's take a look at lap times as they come to you. 38.661 for the home track driver, Matias Ramirez. Zach Hollingshead about 5/10 off with a 39.2. Dang, is Matias Ramirez quick. Spencer Mills, Aiden Keel, and Riley Dickinson, top 5 early out here. On your monitor, you see a look at the tree turn, the 7th corner by my map. They hit the dog leg, turn number 8, and then they'll head for the showcase, turn number 9. They make the U-turn and shoot right back down the gun barrel. Matias Ramirez goes from a 38 down to a 37.940, but it's Spencer Mills who goes even quicker, 37.766. Aiden Keel follows him with a 37.7. Now that should be Michael D'Orlando in the 251. He's got a $sign in his name on Race Monitor, dollar bills, y'all. Michael D'Orlando, he's out there trying to make that money as he lays down a 37.665. Look at that. Ask and you shall receive. Michael D'Orlando's name now pulling up in full print on Race Monitor. I get tricked so easily when I see the number 251 in Junior Max. I have no idea who it could be. I was thrown. I thought it might have been Jeff Gordon.
Meanwhile, Eduardo Barrichello goes purple. Now my timing is down, Tony Laporta.
See?
They're playing games with me.
That's what you get for going over to the timing and scoring side of the building. You should know better. That's down on mine, too. Killian Meyer is scored in 4th. There goes Riley Dickinson across the line. Aiden Keel up to 2nd now.
I believe it's D'Orlando first. As now it updates. In fact, Michael D'Orlando, purple with a 37.263. To Lachlan DeFrancesco's 37.318. That'll be Eduardo Barrichello. Killian Meyer and little brother, little Nicholas D'Orlando in that 5th spot. So I'm going to look back now to Arthur Lease, 37.34. It's going to put him 5th right now. So a pretty solid run, but I expect things are just going to continue to drop on the time charts.
I think you're right, as we are still 4.5 minutes to go here in this Junior Max qualifying, and I think right now is really when you're going to see lap times start to come in. D'Orlando slows down a touch there, but that's only because he was out of traffic off the racing line trying to find himself some open room. DeFrancesco, what a run for him. He's turned it around big time since last weekend here at Rock Cup. Lachlan looking great. Big brother Eduardo Barrichello running 3rd, Killian Meyer and Nicholas D'Orlando. Here come a few drivers, our big pack out of the final corner. What do we got here? Riley Dickinson leads them down as he's going to let Aiden Keel go by. No change there. Matthew Latifi up to 6th. Ryan McDermott stays in 8th. Not a lot of change up front. There go the D'Orlando brothers. Nicholas goes green. 37 with a 3.32 on the back. That's his best lap of the session, but it's not enough to move him out of 4th place. And we talked about it at Rock Cup last weekend, Chris. Inside of row number 2, in my opinion, is the preferred spot to be when this thing goes green today.
Absolutely. Starting inside row number 2 in that 3rd position, going heat race action later on is going to be a big advantage. You want to be on the inside row, if at all possible, as the drivers come by one more time here as we look to see who's going to be able to shake up the time charts. So Barrichello to the top now. 37.258 for Eduardo Barrichello. Then it'll be Michael D'Orlando. Matias Ramirez now to 3rd. Nicholas D'Orlando goes, check that. Nicholas D'Orlando to 3rd. Ramirez to 4th. DiFrancesco in 5th. .060 separates your top 5 here. Now, I'm pretty sure, Tony Laporta, if I had a stopwatch with a laser beam focused on your eye, you couldn't blink that quickly.
I honestly don't know, Chris. I probably couldn't, to be honest with you.
So Eduardo Barrichello holding it down here as he is currently on top on board the number 291 Ocala Grand Prix Tony Kart. Second, Michael D'Orlando. Third, Nicholas D'Orlando. Fourth, Matias Ramirez. Fifth, Lachlan DiFrancesco.
Latifi leads them down the straightaway to complete another lap here. The clock strikes, about 2 minutes to go. In our last qualifying session of the day, Nicholas D'Orlando, he makes the most of it here towards the end. 37.191 for little brother. He's your quickest driver on track, but don't worry, big brother, right behind. 37.263 for Michael, 37.191 for Nicholas. Let's look on track. Something tells me they got to be hooked up, running right near each other. There they come into the back straightaway, off the dog leg, down into the showcase turn. 37.191 for Nicholas. Last time by. What do you say this time, boys? No improvement there as Nicholas stays at a 37.3. Eduardo Barrichello actually breaks up the brothers' affair as he goes second quick, and then Michael D'Orlando falls to third. Matias Ramirez sitting right there in fourth as we now have 1 minute to go here in our Junior Max qualifying. 37.191. The time they're all trying to beat. It currently belongs to Nicholas D'Orlando. They're going to get about 2 more laps in, Chris.
Yeah, the clock definitely starting to wind down. All these drivers so close on the time charts. Just see him come down the front straightaway, heads down. Michael D'Orlando now back to P number 2 by 2 1/1000ths of a second over Barrichello. So it's back to a D'Orlando party up front, 1 and 2, Nicholas and Michael. Then it's a pair of OGP drivers, Eduardo Barrichello, Matias Ramirez. Then it'll be Lachlan DiFrancesco, Killian Meyer, Matthew Latifi, Ryan McDermott, Zoe Edenholm, Nick Bruckner.
So as the clock has 10 seconds remaining on it, it's going to be an absolute nail-biter if the D'Orlandos can get there in time. They're coming off the last corner, 3 seconds on the clock when they get there. They're going to have this flying lap left as the checkers now fly, bringing us to a close here in qualifying, meaning this big group is on their last lap. This will be the last lap taken for time. Nicholas and Michael still on top, but does anybody like Barrichello, Ramirez, or DiFrancesco have anything to say? What about Ryan McDermott? The leaders come out of the tree turn. Latifi into the final corner, out of the showcase. I don't know if Latifi's going to have enough here. Let's start to see as our final lap times come into play. The driver I'm watching, Matias Ramirez. Peyton Durant, no change there. Here comes the 2:15 of Michael D'Orlando. He's going to stay in second, and Nicholas will stand on top as qualifying is now complete and Junior Max's grid has been set. Chris Wheeler, he's already out of here. He's back to go make Kuna USA great. Sherry, the boys ran great. Top 2 in qualifying. Nicholas P1, Michael P2. Eduardo Barrichello is going to start on the inside of row number 2. Matias Ramirez 4th, Lachlan DiFrancesco 5th at the end of this session. 6th in this round was Killian Meyer with Matthew Latifi in 7th. Ryan McDermott, your pole sitter from last month, ends up 8th. Zoe Edenholm and Nicholas Bruckner from Hockley, Texas, complete the top 10 in that final round of Junior Max qualifying. So they'll go to work on merging Micro Max's 2 sessions and Junior Max's 2 sessions. And we'll get that starting grid ready for you when we get back for our heat races. Let's take a quick look at the schedule. DD2 and DD2 Masters are set to roll out at 3:25. That's in 20 minutes from now. So instead of stay here on the mic and tell you about how much fun I've had here in Ocala, Florida, we're just going to go ahead and go to commercial. I think we got a few interviews, maybe. How about a few shout-outs? Do we got any of those? Let's make sure we don't have any shout-outs before we go to break. We do have one shout-out, it looks like, here from Esteban Munoz. Go Andres de Alba from best friend Esteban Munoz. So Andres de Alba, your best friend Esteban says, go fast, good luck. That's awesome, man. He has a best friend. That is so cool. He's lucky. So we're going to go to break here, folks. We're going to tell you a little bit about Fixie Wheels, and we'll be back in just about 15 minutes for the start of heat racing. You're watching live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour, presented by Fixie Wheels.
The 2016 Sofina Florida Winter Tour, presented by Fixie Wheels, in partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to sunny Ocala, Florida. We're joined in the booth by Scott Nelson. Scott, a Florida resident. Scott, is it always this beautiful here in Florida?
It is very beautiful out here. I have to say, Tony Laporta.
I agree with you. It is beautiful. As we're getting ready for our first round of heat races, it is DD2 and DD2 Masters. Oliver Askew, there you see on your starting grid right there. We'll start this race on the inside of row number 1. On the outside, Scott, we see the Marinello of Luke Chudley. And then row 2, Robert Wickens and Dev Gore. Row 3, Rubens Barrichello and Marco Signoretti. Christian Munoz and Michael McCarthy are on the inside of row number 4. Sebastian Herrera Martin and Ethan Simoni make up row number 5 here in DD2 and DD2 Masters. Moises de la Vera and Luis Chiavo are in row 6. Christian Corneo and Christoph Adams round out the field. Scott, what do you expect out of this DD2 race?
Well, I expect a lot of excitement, especially out of Oliver Askew. I really enjoy watching him. I think he's a great competitor, and I expect to see great racing.
I think we're going to get just that, Scott. Great racing as the field makes their way out of the switchbacks. They're now on the back straightaway. They will grid up 2 by 2 when they get to the other side of the showcase turn here. We're gridded up for a 10-lap heat race. Drivers are going to start all 3 of our heats this weekend in the same positions they qualified in. Where they finish these heats will determine their starting position for the final. They get gridded up 2 by 2. Our DD2 Masters are staggered back quite a ways. DD2 Senior enters the tram lanes. Askew on the inside, Chudley on the outside, waiting for our starter, Cameron Egger, to show him the green. They do, and we're off race, and Askew gets a good jump ahead of Robert Wickens down into the opening turn. They head for the turn 2, right-hander chicane. There's a great look from the Mojo Tires blimp high above the track. They'll head for turns 3, and then there is the start of our DD2 Masters field. That's Christian Corneo, Luis Chiavo, and Christoph Adams, the drivers in that field. DD2 Senior now making their way out of the switchbacks through 6. They head for the tree turn number 7. Askew brings them down, and Scott, just as you said, Askew off early to a big lead here.
He is a very exciting racer. Just watch.
Exciting indeed, just like the excitement in your voice. Let's see how they run now as we see Marco Signoretti involved in a battle for what should be about 7th place, I believe. Signoretti started this race in the 6th position aboard the Energy chassis. As they come through the switchbacks, Scott's got to run and go help Max Speed put on a great event. Scott, thanks for stopping and talking to us. Luke Chudley right behind Askew as they come off the back straightaway into turn 9. Let's look at the lead this time by the deficit from P1 back to P2. It's going to be about 1/10 of a second as Askew goes purple, 36.783. Good lap for the Jupiter, Florida driver. I think that should be the fight for about 5th place. It's Chudley, Barrichello, Munoz, and Chiavo, the drivers you're watching on your monitor right now. This class brought to you by Mojo Tires. Awesome shot right there. Low to the ground of turn 9, the exit. There's our lead pack. Askew, Wickens, Chudley. Hey, did you switch over to positions yet, Shelby, instead of times? Through the tree turn, there you see Askew, Wickens, and then it should be Chudley, Barrichello, and running out your top 5, Christian Munoz. Here they come down the running order off the last corner. There's a great shot. I really love that camera angle right above the last corner. There goes Rubens Barrichello down to the inside of Luke Chudley. Wants to make a look for the 3rd position. Nothing to do about it there as Chudley does a great job of carrying speed down the front straightaway. Now they head through the short chute into the left-hander, turn number 4. They set back up to the left side of the track for the right-hander. You got to get back to the left side of the track because the right-hand turn, you dive into the inside. You want to carry as much speed as possible. If you stay down on the left side of the track after exiting turn 4, that right-hander turn 5 is going to rush up on you way quicker than it would if you got over to the left side and then dove down to the right side. Barrichello doing what he can to stick with Luke Chudley. Meanwhile, the rest of the field is doing what they can to just keep Oliver Askew out in front of him and make sure he's not a tiny dot driving away. Robert Wickens and Oliver Askew were the top two dogs in Homestead last month, as Barrichello looks to get freight trained a little bit there in the switchbacks. Oliver and Wickens, we talked about, were the two guys to watch in Homestead. Well, if we're going to be blunt, the one guy to watch was Oliver Askew, as Scott Nelson, our expert analyst, mentioned earlier. But what happened in Homestead was Askew ended up spinning out on the pre-final, if I remember correctly, and ended up getting assessed a penalty and had to start the final in the back of the pack. He had to start in the very back of the pack, and it was a slightly bigger DD2 field we had last month in Homestead than we did this month. And so it just gave him a lot harder of a task to pass all those guys, and he ended up getting up to the second position with something like 4 or 5 laps to go. But by then, Robert Wickens already had this big, massive lead. And long story short, Askew's running and chasing him down every lap. Tenths are getting chipped away. But Wickens able to hold off Oliver Askew on a final lap. It was an epic battle. Wickens held Askew off and scored the victory. He's trying to do the same here, but even Robert Wickens will probably admit to you, to beat Oliver Askew, he's going to need a little bit of bad luck to befall Oliver Askew. Because right now, man, the kid is flying. Nobody has more experience in this field at Ocala Grand Prix than Oliver, although arguably Oliver is the most inexperienced DD2 driver in the field. Last year running in Senior Max, cleaning up, doing a great job every time he went out on track, making the switch this year over to DD2, basically pulling the old switcheroo with his teammate Jordan Lennox. Lennox, who ran DD2 last season in 2015, making the move over to Senior. Oliver swapping from Senior to DD2. This being his first year in a DD2 kart. Oliver, like I said, you almost could say he's the most inexperienced of our DD2 drivers. But when it comes to racing and track time and laps here at OGP, I don't think you're going to find anybody in the field right now with more laps than him. He takes him down into turn one. Then there's Wickens and Chudley. Your top three. Christian Munoz has gotten around for fourth place. Brought Marco Signoretti with him. Barrichello had a fast machine on the opening few laps, but it went away from him. As you see him right there in sixth place. There's the battle for fourth. Fifth is Signoretti with the black helmet and white suit. Marco runs fifth. And then right in front of him in fourth is Christian Munoz. His birthday was just a few days ago. So, Christian Munoz, happy birthday to you. You're running well right now in DD2. What do you say about a podium? He picked one up in Homestead last month. Let's see if he can do more of the same. There goes Aaron Nelton walking down the fence line. He's going to take in a little bit of the Senior Max race coming up. He's working with Luke Selikin, who will be in that Senior Max race here shortly. There's a shot of our leaders, Oliver Askew and Robert Wickens. It's a challenge just to keep both of them in the frame. Then there's Chudley in third place. Fourth is Munoz, and fifth right there in the blue cart, white suit, black helmet, Marco Signoretti. White flag's going to fly here for Oliver Askew as he brings him down. The lead at the white flag, 1.1 seconds. Heat number one is what you're watching here of our first round. A little bit farther back, let's talk about our DD2 Masters drivers. I know we haven't given them much love yet this race. Christian Corneo out in front of Christoph Adams and Luis Schiavo. Schiavo, I believe, had to battle back after a penalty for missing the driver's meeting, I think is what it was. He had to start behind the 8 ball with his laps being taken from him in qualifying. Out of the final corner, down the straightaway. Get used to hearing it, folks. Oliver Askew wins at OGP. Robert Wickens comes home second. Then it's Chudley in third. Munoz is going to hold fourth. And then Marco Signoretti rounds out your top five. Oliver Askew, meanwhile, goes purple on that final lap. Quickest driver on track, Oliver Askew, 35.962. Great lap for your Heat Race 1 winner. He's on a good start to sweep the weekend here. He's already swept Friday. Question is, can he keep the ball rolling throughout Saturday and Sunday? That and many more questions will be answered. If you have questions, email them to us at live@floridawintertour.com. I'll do my best to answer them. try to bring you the correct information. And if I can't, Chris Wheeler will be here, thankfully. We got one shout out here to my son, Davide Greco, cart number 337, senior Rotax. Mom wishes she could be there to see you. So that's from Emily Greco. Our one shout out so far in our first round of heat races. Coming up next, it's Senior Max, but in DD2, the victor is Oliver Askew. Shelby, did you just hear that hilarious transition on the radio? Okay, never mind. Channel 1, where the administrators hang out, not the wackies on race staff. Can you hear me better? We're getting ready for our next heat race of the afternoon. It's Senior Max, this class brought to you by the good people at Rollison Performance Group. As we're getting ready to go, a lot of these drivers out here are wearing helmets this weekend, Chris. In fact, nearly all of them are wearing helmets. And you know what helmet is a great helmet to wear? Bell helmets. In fact, I think the first Bell helmet was built in 1946. Did you know that?
Well, since their marketing campaign says Champions or Bell since 1946, yes.
It makes sense, honestly.
It did.
Packy Wheeler is here with the Bell Racing USA Sprinter van. And, folks, I got to tell you something. If you're in the need for a hooded sweatshirt as winter officially comes to a close and we're heading into the springtime, which can still be a little brisk, a little cool in the mornings and the evenings, and you might find yourself out strolling around, walking, or doing whatever it is that you do, and you'd like to stay a little bit warmer, might I recommend that you head over to Packy at the Bell Racing USA Sprinter, pick yourself up only the softest and the most stylish hoodie I've ever purchased. I just picked one up myself for a nominal fee. I enjoy it very much, and if you like wearing hoodies as much as I do, go see Packy over there at the van, Chris.
Do you know who the first ever Bell driver to win an Indianapolis 500 is, Tony Laporta? As we honor 100 days now, as of today, until the 100th running, the Indy 500?
I have no idea.
The year, 1958, the driver, Jimmy Bryan.
That is one that I probably wouldn't have guessed, honestly.
Time to brush up there, young Jedi.
It is a good bit of information to know, and it's always good to have a helmet on. So why not make it a Bell? Austin Garrison is going to start this race on the pole position with PSL Karting's Gianfranco Mazzafaro on the outside of row number 1. Kyle Kirkwood lines up behind his OGP teammate in 3rd place. Zachary Clayman DeMello will roll 4th with Trent Nestep, your reigning Junior Max champion, in 5th. David Malukas, Senior Max rookie. It's a pair of rookies in row number 3, Estep and Malukas both. Jordan Lennox in the Senior Max race this weekend will start 7th with Jordan Sherritt on the Sodi cart in 8th. Darren Keene from Orsalon Racing and Zach Colton from Kuna USA round out your top 10. Chris Egger stands in the middle of the track like the brave man he is, puts our field into the tram lanes. We're looking for the green flag. Cameron Egger, what do you say? Let's go racing. The revs come up and the field darts across the long straightaway here at Ocala Grand Prix. The drivers fight that steering wheel as tires are still coming up to temperature. They make their way all the way through turn 2, that chicane cleanly, and the leaders now jump on the brakes in turn 4. And is that Garrison out in front with Kirkwood right behind him? Yes, it is. Gianfranco Mazzafaro, we're looking for him as drivers come through the tree turn.
Turn number 6 shows a lot of action, Tony Laporta. Drivers all over the place. 4 wide, 2, 3, maybe off into the dirt. They get it back together. Now's the head to the showcase.
So lap 1 in the books here. Senior Max Heat race number 1. And that's going to be Estep starting to get a little bit of help, I believe. Trying to make something happen here with Jordan Lennox in the 4th position. Kirkwood runs 2nd. And Garrison out in front where he started this race on pole. Kirkwood and Garrison, team orders in play here. Chris, what do you think?
Not a chance. Don't take each other out and don't do anything stupid. That's about as hardcore as it gets. Just go do your thing. They're both two amazingly talented drivers. Both of them have the ability to win this race, and they both know how to protect each other as well.
Into the showcase turn now, out of the showcase turn. Let's look at the field as they come by. Does Kirkwood take a look in 1? No, he doesn't. He stays right there in the 2nd position as your top 4 are glued all over each other as they run now into the switchbacks out of 3 and into 4.
Now through turn number 5, headed to the left-hander at 6. Top 4, no change. Bumper to bumper. See the OGP teammates. Then it'll be Estep moved by Lennox. So Lennox with a little bump and run. You know, it takes a lot of courage to do a bump and run. It takes more to do a bump and run and then tap your helmet.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Whoa.
A bold move.
Issue here. Garrison going to drop to 4th. As something happened there in the showcase. That's going to put Kirkwood, Lennox, Estep now 1, 2, 3.
We saw yellow flags waving for just a moment on the entry into turn 9, the showcase. That may have been for Garrison getting a little squirrely, maybe a little premature on the yellow flag. But either way, it's a big shakeup at the front. Kyle Kirkwood, who ran so well in Rock Senior last weekend, doing the same here in Senior Max this weekend. Jordan Lennox up to 2nd after bumping and running around Estep. Estep's going to lose another spot, though, as Garrison starts to climb his way back up the ladder. Garrison's 3rd. There's Kirkwood, Lennox, Garrison, Estep, and that should be Darren Keene in 5th place. Last time by DeMello was your quickest driver. Garrison went down to defend Estep there as they headed into turn number 1. Jordan Sherritt runs 7th. Christian Brooks on the CRG is 8th. Mazzafaro and Malukas, your top 10. Great live look of your top 4. And, man, this is a loaded Senior Max group. Chris, you've got Kirkwood, Lennox, Garrison, Estep, Keene, all in the top 5 here. So many teams represented: Ocala Grand Prix, PSL Karting, Kuna USA, and Orsalon Racing. Man, Senior Max is a fantastic field this weekend.
Yeah, some more action further back, some more bumping and grinding. You see Mazzafar, maybe a a hand in the air. Not sure what's going on back here, but a lot of contact. Just a bit further back, DeMello goes purple in 6th, 37.407. Fastest man on the track. Lennox and Keene also run green here. Keene all over the backside of Trent Nestep now as they head towards turn number 7.
Well, and these two back here racing for 4th, Chris, need to watch out because the guy right behind them in 6th, Zachary Clement DeMello, has been the quickest driver on the track 2 out of the last 3 laps, 37.407 last time by. Let's see if he can stay fast. Garrison takes over the top honors for the time being, 37.244 for your pole sitter. He's 3rd now, but quickest on the track. Estep in 4th, Darren Keene 5th. Oh, man, I just can't get over the images our cameramen are bringing us this weekend as there's a look through turns 3 and 4, heading into the right-hander turn 5. Great quality shots, but the field here. Some of the top drivers in the country are running single file, gunning each other down right now, Chris, as they're going to come in and now out of the final corner to see Cam Eggers show them the crossed flags here. 5 down, 5 to go. Kirkwood up on the wheel. Lennox ducking down in the seat. Garrison running in 3rd, and he goes purple again. 37.198. The time for Garrison as he begins to close in on Jordan Lennox. Out of turn 4 they come. You see just how tight they are. Through 5. We move now. They head through 6 and into 7. Garrison's got to get ready to make a move here soon, Chris.
Yeah, Garrison stalking the back of Lennox. You know it's not going to take him long once he arrives. He's got another rabbit out in front of him. So it's not like one of these situations where he's going to get around and stall out with nothing but clean air in front of him. As he'll be able to try and run down Kyle Kirkwood. As Kirkwood that time by lead 0.3 of a second.
Garrison doing what he can to stay consistent here as he's going to take a look on the inside of Lennox in 4. Didn't take long. He's through. Austin Garrison clears Jordan Lennox quickly and cleanly in the left-hander turn at number 4 at the top side of the track. Now it's back to an OGP 1-2. The only thing is the roles have been reversed. The orange helmet of Kyle Kirkwood leads them with the blue helmet of Austin Garrison, your pole sitter, in 2nd.
So it looks like we had some contact here in the showcase. The barrier knocked out. Trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Some other issues. Got a slow cart over on the backside of the track. He's going to pull off driver's left in turn number 5. Right in front of the leaders. But he's going to step out of the way. You got another driver here in turn 2 with heavy contact. So there's caution flags all over the racetrack. Issues everywhere. But the top 4 stay the same. Kirkwood, Garrison, Lennox, Estep. Then it'll be DeMello. After DeMello, Keene, then Sherritt.
I'll tell you what, DeMello was super fast for a while there, Chris, and he's not personally slowing down, but everybody else around him has found the speed as well. DeMello just laid down his best lap of the race at 37.129, but Estep, Lennox, and Garrison all laid down their best laps of the race as well, right in front of him. So DeMello runs 5th currently after getting around Darren Keene about 2 laps ago. 5th is about as high as I think he's going to be able to make it up here as the lead pack heads into the final corner. When they get to the other side, they'll see the white flag flying. 1 lap remaining here. Kirkwood will look over his left shoulder. He sees the familiar livery from the Ocala Grand Prix stable, his teammate Austin Garrison. Meanwhile, Lennox still has competition in the form of Estep. And how about it? Trent Estep moving up from your Junior Max champion last year to fighting with the biggest of big dogs here in Senior Max. Jordan Lennox, one of the most accomplished young karters in the world right now, and the rookie bringing the fight right to him. Over the dog leg, down the back straightaway into the final corner. Kyle Kirkwood is going to upset his teammate Austin Garrison for the Heat 1 win. Kirkwood gets it done here in Ocala. Garrison comes home from the pole in 2nd. Lennox 3rd, Estep 4th. DeMello holds off Darren Keene at the line for 5th. Jordan Sherritt will finish 7th. Malukas, another rookie, comes home 8th. Brooks on the CRG 9th. And Mazzafaro earns PSL another top 10 finish. Your boy Zach Holden, Chris, finishes 11th. Matt Solarsik 12th. Luke Selikin 13th. Connor Ford and Nicholas Hornbostel are your top 15. Rounding out the top 20 will be Justin Oviero, Jesse Krill, Diego Dominguez, Haopeng Zhang, and Sterling Fairman. Senior Max that's just a little appetizer for what the rest of the weekend's going to be like, I think.
Yeah, definitely some great racing action there early on, and we got quite a few more heat races coming your way here, and I think every one of them is just going to keep getting better.
I agree. As coming up next, it will be our, what is up next? Let's find out as we turn the sheet. Mini-Max. Those kids never disappoint. And when you take a look at that front row, Tyler Gonzalez and Fernando Barrichello, Chris, Jeremy Fairbairn and Sebastian Montoya are row 2. Jack Crawford, Cody Crucker are row 3. Matias Mergado, Torgerson are row 4. And Noel Leon and Jade Hubert are row 5. Any one of those kids in the top 10, I think, are a legitimate threat to win this race.
Yeah, they all showed good speed in practice as well as qualifying. This one's going to come down to racecraft and track position.
So coming up next will be our third heat race of the afternoon, folks. Qualifying completed after lunch. We will run one round of heats, which we find ourselves in the middle of at the moment. You're watching live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels.
The 2016 Sofina Florida Winter Tour, presented by Fixie Wheels, in partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.
The Mazda Road to Indy has been training and promoting the best, most ambitious open-wheel drivers and teams in North America. Now, Max Speed Group and Anderson Promotions brings to the Rotax karting world a unique opportunity to experience the next level in racing.
A lot of these karters have a dream of becoming an IndyCar racer, and that transition going from Rotax to the Mazda Road to Indy is finally there for them to be able to get a feel of that car.
The Mazda Road to Indy, where drivers and teams from around the world come to succeed. This is where it all starts. This is where you want to be.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels as we are high above Ocala Grand Prix. Round number 2, Heat Race 1 action. On track now is Minimax. And as we look at your screen here, we see an Ocala Grand Prix 1, 2, 3 from qualifying. Tyler Gonzalez and Fernando Barrichello on the front row. Jeremy Fairbairn and Sebastian Montoya, row number 2.
Yeah, on row number 2, Chris, you're going to see Jeremy Fairbairn and Sebastian Montoya, as you talked about. Jack Crawford starts on the inside of row number 3. That's the 5th position. And then Cody Crucker starts 6th. His mom came up to me and gave me a lot of votes of confidence about the broadcast last weekend, so I sure appreciate her. Matias Morgado starts 7th. Austin Torgerson 8th. She's still cheering me on. I always appreciate Danger Zone.
She is actually wearing a T-shirt that says Team Tony.
Really? Fantastic. It's nice to have fans. Noel, Jesus, Leon, and Jade Hubert make up the rest of your top 10. Then it's Arias Duke Medjin in 11th, Andrew Masel 12th. Caleb Bacon rolls 13th with Chloe Chambers in 14th. Yuvan Sundramurthy will start 15th with James Dyer spinning the wrenches. I think Yuvan can still have a pretty good weekend despite his mechanics' best efforts. Dale Kearns rolls off 16th, Elio Giovanni 17th, Cash Tyner and Luca Berazatigi, that's probably not even right, round out your 19-cart field. Tyler Gonzalez and Fernando Barrichello bring them down. Miss Crucker, are you ready? Yes, let's get ready to do this. Our grid makes their way through the tree turn, over the dog leg. In turn number 8, she's got her camera phone out. She's posting a video of this race to MySpace. You better believe it, as they enter into the final corner. 2 by 2. Nice and slow. Gonzalez doing a great job bringing them down. Barrichello on the outside. Fairbairn's going to look to push his way from 3rd up to 2nd. They make their way into the tram lanes. Chief starter, let's go racing. Green flag flies in the air. And Gonzalez does a great job, and Fairbairn did just what we said he was going to do. Shove his way from the inside of row number 2 up to 2nd place. And I'll tell you what, it looks like he brings 5th place starter, Jetpack Jack Crawford. Crawford takes a look on the inside in 4. He's through. Crawford goes from 5th to 3rd to 2nd. He now sets his sights on Tyler Gonzalez as we close up lap number 1.
Now off turn number 7, the outside row. Not the best of starts that time for those guys. We got 2 stuck together. Hey, guys. What are you doing out there? 2 drivers stuck together in turn number 7 trying to get their carts off each other. One trying to pick it up, another still sitting in it. Man, this is all sorts crazy. So leaders now head through turn number 3.
Oh, man, you hate to see that. It looks like they're going to get those kids out of the way in time. Didn't see what happened there, but that's not the way to start your race, I'll tell you that much. Tyler Gonzalez, he knows how to start a race. He knows how to start it big time, as he started on the pole position and leads them down to complete lap number 2. But Jack Crawford, our biggest gainer, it looks like so far, as he started this race in 5th, made his way up to 3rd in the opening 2 corners, and now runs in the 2nd position, 2 laps in. Fairbairn right behind him, though. Fairbairn closes right up on Crawford's back bumper. Jeremy all over Crawford. Those 2 kids, man, they're hardcore. They're going to race each other as hard as they can out on track. But, man, Jack and Jeremy are 2 good buds. They're friends, man. It's fun to hang out with those 2 kiddos away from the track in the pit area. They're having fun. But out on track, they're going to push each other like mad, Chris, as they head for the tree turn. Crawford is just trying to keep Fairbairn behind him as he rolls in 2nd place. Fernando Barrichello, 4th. Duke Medjin. Great start for Duke Medjin here. He started in the 11th position. He's already up to 5th, 3 laps in.
He is, but Tyler Gonzalez continues to lead the way. 0.7 of a second now the lead. So he is not planning on looking back or slowing down here.
As we watch our PSL karting Minimax drivers out on track, my phone vibrates, and it's my motorsport.com app reminding me to open the app and check out all of the latest racing news and information. Motorsport.com, the official media partner of Max Speed Promoted Events. If you don't have the app, you don't have the app, and you should. Coming down to complete another lap here, 6 to go, 4 down. Tyler Gonzalez continues to just drive away little by little. His gap over Jack Crawford, 0.7 of a second here coming up on halfway.
But the man on the move definitely didn't get the start he wanted, but goes purple. Sebastian Montoya goes purple that time, 39.364. So the 158 barrel now to the back of that group, and he's going to start making some moves, and there's the first casualty. Montoya, good under braking, drives off the center of the corner. He's going to move up one there around Leon.
Another driver continues to crawl up the leaderboard, Duke Medgen, Chris, as he got around Barrichello last time by early in the lap. Arias Duke Medgen coming from 11th place on the starting grid post-qualifying. There you see him in that blue cart, blue suit, green helmet. He's digging right now in the 4th position, and he's on rails. Last time by, Chris, he was a 39.547, quicker than Fairbairn, a 39.552, and Fairbairn is getting slowed down by Jack Crawford as they continue to play cat and mouse. Duke Medgen still has 4 to go when they get to the line. It's certainly not out of the question. I think Duke Medgen could be finishing this race inside the top 3.
No doubt about it, as Gonzalez this time by going to extend the lead to 1.2 seconds.
Wow, Duke Medgen 39.179. Why is that a big deal? Because Fairbairn right in front of him, a 39.3. Duke Medgen nearly 2 full tenths of a second quicker that time by than Jeremy Fairbairn. You see the battle right there. Duke Medgen hard on Fairbairn's back bumper as they come out of the switchbacks over the hump in 6th. They head for the tree turn. Corner number 7. Now Fairbairn has lost the draft from Jack Crawford, and he's in the clutches of Arias Duke Medgen. They come in and now out of the showcase turn. There's your leader, Tyler Gonzalez, out in front. Then it's going to be 2nd place, Jack Crawford. 3rd place, Fairbairn. But how long's Fairbairn going to be able to stay there, Chris? Duke Medgen coming.
Duke Medgen through. Duke Medgen, a super late pass to the bottom, makes it stick. So Duke Medgen now in that 3rd position. Sights set on Jetpack Jack Crawford.
It's so funny. Dr. Duke Medgen, man, last weekend he said, we don't always start as quick as we want to, but we sure finish with the speed when it matters. And boy, was he right. Qualifying, definitely not the session that Arias or anybody over there at that tent wanted, but already here in our first heat race, he has figured it out, and he is rolling. Jack Crawford that time by a 39.3. Duke Medgen again goes quicker, a 39.1. Chris, how is he so much quicker right now?
Duke Medgen's just rolling. The Greg Beltoon machine is just on rails.
He's coming right now as he closes in on Jetpack Jack Crawford through the switchbacks. The white cart, Jack driving the Karting Community United livery this weekend for Jen Durant and all the folks at KCU, but it's about to get eaten up by Duke Medgen under braking. Arias on the Tony kart coming out to see 2 laps, now 1 lap to go. The white flag flies. Your leader, Gonzalez, has nothing to worry about. 2nd on back, though, it's anybody's.
So Crawford goes to the bottom in turn number 1. Duke Medgen, nothing to fight against. Now through turn 3, separated by half a kart length. Both drivers actually on the CRG chassis here this weekend. Now off turn number 4 through the right-hander at 5. Duke Medgen all over the back of Crawford through 6. Headed to 7. Just a couple corners remain. Can Duke Medgen get a little bit more in the old bank account of points here? The showcase for the final time. Nothing looking. Down the front straightaway, checkered flag. Tyler Gonzalez goes purple on the final lap. Crawford, Duke Medgen, Fairbairn, Barrichello. Montoya recovers to 6. Then it'll be Leon, Krucker, Torgerson, and Matias Morgato.
Arias Duke Medgen passed Jack Crawford going down into turn 1. The only problem was it was after the checkered flag flew. And again, that's just a little bit of a teaser of what we're going to see throughout the rest of the weekend. Minimax is done for the day. They're going to take it to the barn. They will be back for 2 more rounds of heat races tomorrow. But it's Tyler Gonzalez. Austin Miles, great job with this Minimax program this weekend, friend. Whenever you want to come in and explain to us how you got these kids rolling so fast, you know you're welcome. So again, the top 10 looks like this. Gonzalez, your winner. Crawford in second. Duke Medjin third. Fairbairn and Barrichello, your top 5. Then it's Montoya in 6th. Leon 7th. Cody Crucker in the 8th position. Austin Torgerson and Matias Morgado, your top 10. So let's take a look here. See if we got any shout-outs. Anybody watching back at home live who wants to say hello to one of their drivers. Shout out to Anderson Racing. Keep up the good work. And I'm not even going to read the last part of that email because it's a reference to the Carolina Panthers, the losers of Super Bowl 50. Good luck, Cody Crucker. Oh, he just finished up his race. So a shout out to Cody Crucker. It says, we love you so much. Cheering you on and watching from home. Sorry we can't be there. Say hi to Danger Zone 2. Love Aunt Kelly, Uncle Paul, Marshall, Nico, and Victoria. Should you require further assistance, please not hesitate to contact me directly. Have a wonderful day. I'm guessing that's probably just her signature. But Cody Crucker getting some love here as his heat race comes to an end. Cody had a great race. No doubt about it. As he brings home a solid top 10 finish. So coming up next, oh boy, it's a goodie. Masters Max. We go from one of our youngest categories of drivers to one of our not youngest categories of drivers. Masters Max on the grid, and just because I know they're sitting down there and they can probably still hear me, let's talk about him. Christoph Adams starting on the pole position. He's pulling double duty this weekend. He's going to have a sore back. Michelle Aboisa podiumed in Homestead. He starts on the outside of row number 1. Then it's Scotty Roberts on the inside of row number 2. Pistol Pete. He starts 4th. Nick Tucker from North Carolina. He starts 5th. John Robichaux roll 6th. Big Bobby Green. He didn't even get on track till yesterday afternoon. He had a GoPro on, bunch of footage of surfing. He's here, and he's ready to go. He starts 7th. Alessandro De Luca and Daniel Robertson round out your Masters Max starting grid. Those are the drivers. That's the track. When we come back, we'll do the racing.
The Mazda Road to Indy has been training and promoting the best, most ambitious open-wheel drivers and teams in North America. Now, Max Speed Group and Anderson Promotions brings to the Rotax karting world a unique opportunity to experience the next level in racing.
A lot of these karters have a dream of becoming an IndyCar racer, and that transition going from Rotax to the Mazda Road to Indy is finally there for them to be able to get a feel of that car.
The Mazda Road to Indy, where drivers and teams from around the world come to succeed. This is where it all starts. This is where you want to be.
Back on track now with our next heat race. It's Masters Max getting ready to roll. What an awesome time it is, folks, here in the world. Florida Winter Tour Racing, Challenge of the Americas next weekend. No matter where you go, there's more racing than you could shake a stick at. But why would you want to? You might scare the racing away. Christoph Adams and Michelle Boysa, your front row, with Scott Roberts and Pistol Pete in row number 2. Nick Tucker from Rawlson Performance Group and John Robichaux in row 3. Then it's Bobby Green and Alessandro De Luca in row 4. Daniel Robertson rounds out your field in 9th. Let's get ready to go Masters Max Racing, folks. It's our most seasoned veterans of drivers on the track now. Coming into the tram lanes, Christoph Adams brings them down nice and slow. They got to stay between those painted lines, and they don't like the start. Cameron Egger gives them the raised up index finger, letting them know that we're going to take another lap around. Not sure what the call was on that one. The speed looked great to me this weekend at the Florida Winter Tour, just as at Homestead. They do have a speed gun trained on the field as they come down the straightaway. If the race director doesn't like what the number on that radar shows, he can abort the start and wave them around. Honestly, to me, that speed looked great for the Masters drivers. They looked bunched up. They looked tight. Maybe Chris Egger just dropped a contact lens or something. So we're going to try it again here as Christoph Adams in the Burrell right there. The red and white suit lines up alongside of Boyza. Out of the showcase turn into the tram lanes. It looks even better this time. Do we see a green flag this time? Yes, we do. It's in the air, and we're racing. Wow, Boyza gets right next to Adams. Tries to do the old Texas two-step through turn 1. Doesn't work. He's going to slide back into 3rd. Scott Roberts moves up to the 2nd position after starting on the inside of row number 3. They're single file through the switchbacks. Out of 4, they head to 5. They make the U-turn and they head back. Now they come out of 6. They head for the tree turn. Corner number 7 over the dog leg in 8th. They fly down the back straightaway. And 1 lap in, your leader is the 666 of Christoph Adams. And just like that, we're racing Masters Max here in Ocala. Micromax drivers need to be on the grid now as their heat race number 1 is up next. Let's take a look at the field as they run right now. Out of turn 4, it's a tight left-hander, and then a short chute that leads you right into another right-hander. It's a bunch of switchbacks, I call them. Several U-turns connected back to back to back over there on the far side of the track. Then you fly out into an early apex left-hander turn number 6. You get spit out to the right side of the track. You're going to cross back over to the left side of the straightaway to set up for the tree turn, corner number 7. It's a right-hander. Then you jump over a little dog leg, turn 8. It's a baby corner, some people would call it. Then down a very short back straightaway into the long sweeping showcase turn number 9. And then on to the front straightaway here at Ocala Grand Prix. Such a short and technical circuit, but George Ariano sure made it wide enough for all kinds of great racing. Bobby Green's starting to get a little bit of a challenge. I think that's going to be from Robichaux. It's a 10-lapper for these drivers. And that's confusing because Race Monitor tells me that we are 3 laps in with 9 to go. So that is not the case. This is, in fact, a 10-lapper. Bobby Green starting to reel in Pistol Pete now right in front of him. Hey, and that's to break into the top 5 right now is the fight we're watching as Pete Frischke runs in P5. There's Greg Pearson. He's on his cellular telephone. Hopefully he's talking to someone, telling him to watch the broadcast live on motorsport.com. All you got to do is click the TV button at the top of the screen when you go to motorsport.com and then look for the page that says Florida Winter Tour. Watch live. Up front, Scott Roberts is doing a great job, but boy, is he getting a big challenge from Michelle Boyza. Boyza getting physical like an 80s workout video as they fight for 2nd place. Yeah, Boyza gave him a little shot coming out of turn 6, I believe. It didn't hurt Roberts terribly. A rolled black flag is being shown to the 680 of Pistol Pete. A rolled black flag letting that driver know that the race director, the corner marshals are aware of some unsportsmanlike driving that they're not very happy with. And, man, Aboiza continues to go to work on Scott Roberts here. There's your top three. Leader, Christoph Adams in the red Burrell. Second place, Scott Roberts with that orange and green helmet on the Tony kart. And then in third place is Aboiza, also on a Tony kart. Let's take a look at the lap times here. Aboiza goes purple. That time by, he picked a great time to do it. 38.496. Aboiza, very fast. As you see him on your monitor right there, he is going to work, as he has all race, on Scott Roberts. What does he have for the reigning U.S. Grand National Champion, Scott Roberts? Christoph Adams is cool with this side-by-side racing with those two cats. It allows him to slowly drive away. What about Bobby Green? He's still just outside the top 5 in 6th. Nick Tucker has been passed by Pistol Pete as he runs in 4th place. Pete Frischke is his name. Pistol Pete is his pseudonym, his nickname, his tag, you would say, by his Ocala Grand Prix teammates here in Florida. Aboiza is going to take a look to the inside in 5 on Roberts, and he's through. Aboiza for second place, and now he taps his helmet, or at least it looks like it. He raised his right hand. I love it. I understand the theory. I've gotten by you. Now together, let's work on catching the guy in front of us. But if I'm Scott Roberts, or if I'm the guy who just got passed, I'm thinking to myself, well, why would I work with you right now when you wouldn't push me? It's hilarious. I love to watch drivers battle for position for 4 or 5 laps straight. They finally get by, and then they reach right back to that helmet and say, okay, let's go. Well, if you wanted to go so bad, why didn't we just work together when you were behind me? I don't know. I don't know much about karting, folks, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. And what I do know is Aboiza has gotten around Scott Roberts for P2 and is pulling away. Roberts is in 3rd, Frischke 4th, Tucker 5th, Bobby Green 6th, as Adams continues to click off the laps here. So it turns out this heat race is in fact 12 laps. That's why Cameron Egger is reaching for the 6 now to let him know 2 remaining, 10 down. That's some quick max speed math for you. I was wrong. I guess Race Monitor was right. I should learn to trust computers. 2 laps remaining here. There's a good look at 4th, 5th, and 6th. Pete Frischke, Nick Tucker, and Bobby Green. Bobby Green, a Floridian who loves to surf and wakeboard, but he's racing with Oakland Valley Race Park in upstate New York. Why, you ask? Because Oakland Valley Race Park likes to have fun, and so does Bobby Green. Oakland Valley Race Park's motto is teaching racing's future fast, and then if you had to add on to it, you could put / have fun. White flag's going to fly this time by Christoph Adams. He's having a whole lot of fun. Scott Roberts went purple last time by. But watch out, folks, because Aboiza not going away. 1 lap to go, less than that. I don't know if he's going to have enough time, but he's closed up on Christoph Adams very well here. Out of turn 4, into the switchbacks. Aboiza, less than a kart length back. Aboiza, I'm not going to say he's there yet, but he's darn close. They head into the tree turn, number 7, over the dogleg, turn number 8. Adams is too good on exit. Does he have anything here in 9? No, Aboiza is not going to be close enough. Adams is going to score heat race number 1. The GP Falcone Masters Max heat race number 1 does, in fact, go to Christoph Adams. He kept his best lap for his last lap, 38.142. Michel Aboiza rallies to finish 2nd. Heck of a run for the Tony Kart driver from Brazil. Scott Roberts, your reigning Grand Nationals champion, finishes 3rd. Pete Frischke 4th. And RPG's Nick Tucker rounds out the top 5. Bobby Green comes home 6th. Robertson 7th. Robichaux 8th. And Alessandro De Luca, your top 9. Hey, guess what? We got a shout out for Jack Crawford. Go Jetpack. Mom is watching at home. Great job. Hang in there. That's from Miss Nikki Crawford. Nikki, thank you for watching the broadcast. Jet is driving great. He's driving well, I guess you could say. Hooked on Phonics would tell me he's driving well, and he is. So thanks a bunch, Nikki. If you're watching live, folks, we sure appreciate you spending your Friday with us. Let us know what you're doing, who you're cheering on, and we'll tell you how they're doing. 2 heat races left to go. Micro Max on the grid now. Junior Max loading into the chute.
The Mazda Road to Indy has been training and promoting the best, most ambitious open-wheel drivers and teams in North America. Now, Max Speed Group and Anderson Promotions brings to the Rotax karting world a unique opportunity to experience the next level in racing.
A lot of these karters have a dream of becoming an IndyCar racer, and that transition going from road
Luke Selican making his way to a spectators area down by turn 1. He just wants to get away from the crowd here, honestly. I think as a Senior Max competitor, podium finisher at the grand finals, sometimes Luke's just looking to get away from all the harassment and all the media attention, and that's what he's doing as he walks down. Oh, and he's been asked by a fan for an autograph, it looks like. He obliges. He's not letting fame go to his head. That's for sure. Luke coming off of a good 13th place finish in the Senior Max heat race a little earlier this afternoon. Boy, he's going to walk all the way down to the ambulance, it looks like. Luke is down here this weekend helping Rollison Performance Group fine-tune their Florida Winter Tour program, and he's helping one driver. That driver's about to roll out on track and start this race in the 4th position. One, Josh Jazz Hands Pearson, and they're 3 wide on the outlap. How great is that? They're 3 wide on the outlap as they leave the grid. What an amazing place this is. Isaac Canto will roll off 31st with Brent Cruz and Ethan Donkers in front of him. Starting 28th will be the 31 of Jorge Ortiz and Miles Hewitt in 27th. Rodrigo Sanchez starts 26th with Ian Aguilera-Tuart in 25th. Jesse Carrasquedo and Granger Pera line up side by side in 24th and 23rd. Then it's Morcillo Lorenzo and Nikita Johnson, 22nd and 21st. Alex Papau and Pedro Caparelli start things off inside the top 20. Miss Paige Crawford out of Long Island, New York. She came a long way to be here, and I think she's going to have a really good race in 18th. Alex Jankowski starts 17th with Andres Asmar and Georgie Zawin starting 16th and 15th. Santiago Trisney and Diego Contecha line up side by side, while Emo Fittipaldi starts 12th with Marcelo Panchia in 11th. Now inside the top 10, we see Texas's Branyan Tyner starting 10th with Juan Pablo Cepeda in 9th. Row 4 has Jeremy Fletcher on the outside and Rafael Camara on the inside. Connecticut's Karsten DeFonts rolls off 6th, with Oregon's Ashton Torgerson in 5th. Then it's Josh Pearson, last month's winner, in 4th. James Agozi on the Bennick in 3rd. And on the front row from Ben Cooper Racing, Justin Arsenault on the outside. And on pole, the number 29 of Enzo Schianti. Chris Egger is telling him, slow down. Cameron Egger, do we go racing? Yes, we do. Down in turn number 1. That grid came in like a wrecking ball. And a few of them get together. We got a big pile up down in 1. A few drivers get together. Everybody's okay. They stay in their carts. They fire up. And they're going to continue rolling. I think the 22 of Fletcher might have been involved. That field did come in a little hot. They got the green flag. And we're off and racing here. Let's take a look at the field as they come out of the tree turn over number 7. We may be going to a full restart here. I believe we are, as Chris Egger goes for the yellow and red. Yes, he does. We're going for a full restart. So all the drivers we're being told are okay down in turn 1. That's the most important part. But what will happen next is a full restart, meaning we revert back to how this field was lined up following qualifying. So you see the field getting bunched back up together 2 by 2. It's not a yellow flag and it's not a red flag. It's the waving combined 2 flags that let these drivers know that the start has been waved off. RMC rules allow your race director up to the completion of 2 laps to wave off the start of a race should he see the need to. I think they, in retrospect, didn't like the speed that those kids came down to the green flag at. And so what they did is, since none of those carts were irreparably damaged, they're going to restart them, although 2 drivers have gotten together on the back side in turn 4. Or no, turn 6 rather. They get untangled. The field comes out of the tram lanes for the second time. It's going to be Schianti and Arsenault. Egger's still telling him to slow down. We're going around one more time. So it's a combination of the race staff not liking that start, and also 2 drivers were taken out of the start of that race as the track staff saw due to they were not allowed to start that race due to a situation not of their own doing, and that is why we decided to wave off that start. We went 1 time around after the aborted start. This is going to be our 3rd attempt here at the green flag. We had a couple carts to get together over in turn 6. Basically, all that means, folks, is we're reverting back to the starting grid. It's going to be another full 8-lap shot at it here. Enzo Schianti and Justin Arsenault will give it another go here. I have to imagine if it doesn't work this time, we're going to see a flip-flop in the front row, putting Agozi and Pearson at the point. And they're still just, they're just a tick hot, I think, heading into this final corner. They're going to get them woed down here. Chris Egger is going to come to the acceleration line, stand between the tram lanes. There you see that full grid. They need to get slowed down. Outside line, inside line, into the tram lanes. They're coming in hot. Cam Egger's going to pull the trigger. We're racing. Agozi want to take a look down in 1. He couldn't make it happen for the lead, but he should pick up 2nd. Yes, he does. James Agozi now into P2 off the inside of row number 2. They come out at turn 3. Much cleaner start that time as they all make it through. Now out of the switchbacks they head for turn number 6. Couple carts run wide in 5, but they all stay on track. Out of 6, they head for the tree turn number 7. It's going to be Schianti up front with Agozi in 2nd, and Agozi's got a good head of steam as they come into 9. Pearson, and that should be Torgerson, are wheel to wheel just like they are back home in the Northwest, except we're in Florida. Torgerson moves to the inside of Kamara. He wants to take a look for the inside. No, nothing going on. Meanwhile, Agozi does take a look to the inside for the lead, and he makes the pass stick. New leader, James Agozi. But don't think that means Enzo Schianti's going to go anywhere, as he stays right on James Agozi's back bumper. Agozi pulling double duty. Racing Rock Cup last weekend, RMC this weekend, down into the tree turn number 7. There's a good look at your leaders over the dog leg. In 8th, coming down to complete 2 to go. Pearson's going to take a look on the inside for 5th. He's there and he's through. Pearson now up to P5. Agozi, your leader. Schianti 2nd. Kamara 3rd. Torgerson 4th. Torgerson's going to pull out to take a look. He brings Pearson with him. Torgerson up to 3rd. Good move right there as the Northwest drivers, Austin Torgerson from Medford, Oregon, Josh Pearson from Wilsonville, Oregon, do a 2-position swing on Rafael Kamara. Kamara battles back, though, in 5. He picks up a spot, but Pearson comes right back. Pearson back into P4. Pearson, Kamara having a great show of it, and that should be Arsenault dicing it up as well. Schianti right on Agozi's back bumper as they roll through the final corner. We're already nearing the halfway point here, folks. James Agozi having a great race. The little dude making the switch after Rock last weekend to Rotax this weekend, and he hasn't missed a beat. If anything, he's picked up some speed. Your top 3 now all over each other. Agozi, your leader on the Bennick. Then it's going to be 2nd place, Torgerson. Power move by Austin Torgerson. No, that's not Torgerson. Who's that going to be as they come out of the final corner? Let's take a look down the front straightaway. That's Pearson, Josh Pearson. Wow. So Josh Pearson's back there fighting with Schianti and Kamara and Arsenault. He ends up catching up, getting around Austin Torgerson. He moves into 2nd, and he's just gotten past James Agozi for the lead. Josh Pearson, man, the kid never ceases to amaze. Out of the tree turn. I hope Mom's watching back at home, Greg, because the boy is driving awesome. Out of the last corner. They're going to see 5 to go this time by. Cam Egger lets them know halfway home. Halfway home. Pants on the ground. We're halfway home in our second to last heat race of the day. Great battling all the way around the track. A little bit farther down the running order. Santiago Trisney is in 7th. Karsten DeFonts, 8th. Branyan Tyner, 9th. Jeremy Fletcher in 10th. Georgie Zawin is in 11th. Emo Fittipaldi, 12th. Jankowski, Asmar, and Miss Paige Crawford are your top 15. Paige Crawford started this race in the 18th position. She's already up to 15th. Good race there. Kamara right on Torgerson's back bumper. That's going to be for 4th, is the fight we're watching. Pearson leads. Schianti should be back in about 6th, I believe. Yep, Schianti 6th. Kamara 5th. Torgerson 4th. Arsenault, Agozi, and Pearson. Oh, and did I mention Josh Pearson just went purple. 40.939. Great lap for Josh Pearson. James Agozi in 2nd. Now he's in 3rd as Justin Arsenault puts a power move on him down in turn 5. So Arsenault trying to get back to where he started. 2nd place, that's where he runs now. And as these guys in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th continue to battle, it's good racing, but it's even better news for Josh Pearson. Greg, his dad, cheering him on from the sidelines. And I'll tell you what, folks, there's not much of a better family in karting than the Pearsons as Austin Torgerson makes the move on James Agozi down in turn 1. Move Torgerson now up to the 3rd position. He's going to set his sights on Justin Arsenault, but he's got to be careful because Agozi is still right there hanging tough. Torgerson does a good job of defending. Agozi's going to lose another spot to Rafael Kamara. He falls to 5th. Kamara now to P4. Austin Torgerson going to set his sights on Justin Arsenault. But it's Josh Pearson riding off into the sunset. 8 down, 2 to go. The kid is just cruising right now. He goes purple again, 40.798. The Can-Am Karting Challenge in the Pacific Northwest, racing between Washington, Oregon, and Canada. Man, that region produces some of the best drivers you're ever going to see, like the names Joey Wimsett, for example. And right now you see 2 of the young drivers from the Pacific Northwest running in the top 3 here at one of the biggest international series to come to the U.S. soil, the Florida Winter Tour. Pearson's your leader, and Ashton Torgerson out of Medford, Oregon, runs 3rd. He's got a challenge, though. Torgerson does, from Rafael Kamara. Kamara has gotten by for third, and he's going to defend, but Torgerson's going to walk around the outside. How about it? Ashton Torgerson, your big brother Austin, just made a pass around the outside in turn one. You don't see that often. Josh Pearson, we'll have to tell him about his Northwest neighbor's awesome pass when this thing is over. Pearson brings it over the dog leg, through 8, down the back straightaway. He's just got to get it home. Josh Pearson comes from 4th on the grid to win it here in Ocala. Yeah, buddy. Good job. Second place is going to go to Justin Arsenault. Kamara and Torgerson duel to the line. Kamara's going to end up 3rd, Torgerson 4th, Schianti 5th. James Agozi with a great run that saw him lead for a while finishes 6th. Santiago Trisney 7th. Karsten DeFonts 8th. Branyan Tyner 9th. And Jeremy Fletcher round out your top 10. Great racing there in Micromax. Wow, that gets you just excited to watch the battles there. If you liked Micromax racing, Luke Selican, raise your hand in the air. He can hear me. I know he can. He's got his Ray-Bans on. He's going down to congratulate Josh Pearson. Pearson, your round 1 winner from Homestead. He's got the ball rolling. Got a shout out here from the one and only Tony Monica. Enjoying the races, he says, on the big screen TV. Looking forward to meeting you on Sunday. Tony Monica, the Ocala Grand Prix and Rock Cup announcer. Wow. Tony giving another Tony a shout out. So, Mr. Monica, we sure appreciate you tuning in and watching. Can't wait to meet you on Sunday. I know all of us here in the broadcast booth are looking forward to that, as we only have one race left to go here. Good look at our Junior Max grid. There's Madeline Egger, Chief Grid Stewardess here at Max Speed Entertainment. Let's take a quick look at our starting grid here, Chris Wheeler, for our last heat race of the day. It's a big field, 30 drivers in total. Let's meet all of them. Thomason Brennan starts 30th with Marc-Antoine Poirier in 29th. In row 14, it's Emma Delartre with George Stojakovic in 27th. Eamon Lowe and Nathan Ratton make up row 13, while Stephen Malozzi, who had a really good run in group number 1 qualifying, starts 24th. Manuel Suleiman starts 23rd. Texas's Riley Dickinson starts 22nd, but don't expect him to stay there for long, nor should you expect Peyton Durant from the Beehive State, Utah, to stay in 21st for very long. PK Sports driver Jet Noland had a great race going last weekend in Rock Jr. Until the last couple of laps, things got a little hairy. He starts 20th with Zachary Hollingshead alongside in row number 10. Max Hewitt in the 222 will start 18th with Dylan DeFonts from Connecticut in 17th. Spencer Mills and Dylan Tavella on a pair of Burrells will roll off in row number 8. Then it's Andres De Alba in row 14 and another Anderson Racing driver, Aiden Keel, in 13th. Nicholas Bruckner from Hockley, Texas, says he's been playing a lot of basketball. That's why he got in late last night. He starts 12th with Miss Zoe Edenholm from Kuna, USA in 11th. And the good news for all you Zoe Edenholm fans out there, I believe she finally got herself a new Tony Kart suit, as she will pilot her Kuna, USA entry from the 11th spot on the grid. Now let's meet your top 10. Pole sitter from Homestead, Ryan McDermott, will roll off 10th with Matthew Latifi in 9th. Harry Colton, I told you to keep an eye on him, and you should, because he starts 8th alongside Arthur Least in 7th. Killian Meyer will take his CRG from 6th on the grid with Lachlan DiFrancesco on the inside of row number 3. Home track driver Matias Ramirez starts 4th with Eduardo Barrichello also racing with OGP this weekend inside of row number 2. It's a big field, 30 carts, 15 rows, and on the front row, we see the 251 of Michael D'Orlando and little brother, Nicholas D'Orlando. Chris, it's a big grid. It's a stacked field. It's going to be a great last race of the day.
I really do think it's going to be a great last race, and I'm glad that you jumped on it early with the lineups because we've got some cool stuff to talk about. The Dan Weldon Award. Fitting that we talk about it for the first time of the year here in Ocala, Florida. Obviously, Dan, a former driver of the Ocala Grand Prix program and a good person all around that we lost in the year 2011. And with Max Speed taking over the Florida Winter Tour last year, Mike Marini took over the reins of the Dan Weldon Award. And it's one of those things where you don't get to broadcast you're running for it. You don't anything like that. It goes out to truly good people here from the karting community. And it could be anybody from a mechanic or a driver to a team owner, a team principal, an official. One of those things, where at the end of the day, this award means a lot to a lot of people. And, Ben Cooper, last year's recipient. And if you'd like to nominate somebody, pretty sure we can use we're going to use the email address as one of the things that you do your shout-outs here, live at FloridaWinterTour.com if you have any to send over, or info@Cuna'USA.com. Another email. I'll get the definite on that one. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, but it's definitely a special award and one that a lot of us take very seriously.
Well, and Chris, just so I remember, because I know I talked about it a lot last year, as Mike Marini and you guys all really wanted to push it, and we handed out the award here at Ocala last year at the end of the Florida Winter Tour. Basically, the Dan Weldon Award, if I were to sum it up, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's someone who, the award winner this year, the nominees should be someone who embodies Dan's spirit in the sport of karting, meaning that they're a good ambassador of the sport, meaning that they show good sportsmanship and they're always out to lend a helping hand, and no matter what their status in the sport is, they're always a positive influence, much like the man that Dan was. Is that fair to say?
That sums it up pretty accurately. Personally, Dan was a close friend. It was a pretty sad time when it happened, and I wrote that in my nomination for George Ariano a few years ago, and he won it. Because George was the one that grabbed me and said, hey, we need to get back on the horse and come back to work. And, if there's one person out there that embodies everything that Dan was, I'd love to meet him because that would be great. But, feel free to send your nominations in and think about it. It's not a spur-of-the-moment type of thing that you figure out. It's something you really should think about before submitting. But definitely looking forward to seeing who this year's recipient will be in West Palm. But meanwhile, we're going to get back to one of Dan's favorite things, and that's the racing action. As Junior Max here about to take the green flag, heat race number 1, the DiOrlando brothers on the front row. Tony, let's take him to the green here.
Nicholas DiOrlando and Michael DiOrlando, the front row somewhere. Mike Sr. is pretty stoked, and I know Sherry DiOrlando's in these grandstands cheering her two boys on. For the final time today, they're going to bring them down 2 by 2. Cam Hager, let's go racing. Big shove from the inside of the front row, and that's going to push Michael DiOrlando out from that off-pole position, and it's going to push Nicholas right on through as we take off for our 10-lap final heat race of the day. It's a 12-lapper, actually. A couple drivers get together back there around the tree turn. Turns 3 and 4, they're sideways, but up front, we are clean and green here to start this race. Nicholas DiOrlando starting on pole over the dog leg. Let's see how they run. Michael's going to try to regain that second spot down to the inside. He is through. Michael DiOrlando back to second. Little brother's leading it. Chris, let's go race it.
Down into turn number 1 for the first. Check that the second time. The brothers DiOrlando lead it. Barrichello, Ramirez. Those four starting to open up an early gap here. Now off turn number 3 into turn number 4, single file, nobody. No, Matias Ramirez to the bottom. Ramirez to the bottom of Barrichello. He does not want to lose any time to the DiOrlandos up front. This is going to set the stage not only for a great weekend of racing here, but all year long in Junior Max competition. Some of these drivers up front are going to lead us all the way through the season as we end up with the U.S. Open finale in Vegas later on as the two leaders bumper to bumper. Michael just pushing his brother Nicholas into turn number 1. I believe Barrichello looked to go back to the bottom of Matias Ramirez, and he did. So Barrichello back into third.
The sun just starting to sink a little bit here in Ocala, Florida, and it's the perfect setting for an awesome last race of the day. Barrichello and Ramirez, OGP teammates, are doing a little bit of a Texas two-step, fighting each other right now, and that's all okay with the Kuna USA brothers and teammates. Brothers D'Orlando, Nicholas, little brother out front, Michael, big brother, in second place out of the final corner down the front straightaway. Kuna USA bringing you the Junior Max competition this weekend. Eduardo Barrichello, after clearing his teammate Matias Ramirez, goes purple that time by with a lap of 38.246. Matias Ramirez and the D'Orlando brothers, we saw this same race 5 days ago in Junior Rock here during the Rock Cup portion of the Florida Winter Tour, and man, was that good racing. Now you add in a few other big names like Eduardo Barrichello, Arthur Leese, Killian Meyer, and Harry Colton, to name a few, Chris, and this is going to be a fantastic session to watch all weekend long. They come down to complete another lap. We are going to be 4 laps in, 8 to go. Now it's Michael to the inside of turn 1, and he's around. Now, big brother's going to take the turn at the front and show little brother how we do it. Here at OGP, Michael D'Orlando coming from the second starting spot on the grid as Matias Ramirez muscles his way around Eduardo Barrichello. So they're shuffling all around inside that top 4 right now, Chris.
You talk about it in the sort of like boxing, Tony Laporte. You got the heavyweights, you got the welterweights. The heavyweights here, Michael D'Orlando, Matias Ramirez, and here comes Ramirez to the bottom of Nicholas D'Orlando. He's going to pood inside as he gets around Nicholas in the showcase, and now your 2 heavyweights, first and second.
What a great move Matias Ramirez made right there on Nicholas D'Orlando. He just shoehorned Nicholas up and out of the groove going down into turn 9. To be fair, you must understand, I'm not saying that there was any contact or anything like that. He presented his nose. Nicholas saw it, acknowledged, realized there was a battle for position, didn't want to get wrecked, didn't want to be wrecked, so he made the smart decision, and he's going to live to race another lap and another corner here. But like you said, Chris, great analogy. There's the heavyweights, there's the welterweights in this class. The heavyweights are guys like Michael D'Orlando, Matias Ramirez. They're the kids that have been in this class for 2 or 3 years already. And then you have little brother Nicholas D'Orlando, who's going to battle back here. Is that him getting around for 3rd place?
Check that. That is him dropping to 4th with Barrichello now to 3rd.
Yep.
So the 2 OGP drivers have officially split up the brother party. Here comes Arthur Leese now. Leese to the bottom of Nicholas.
Oh, yeah. He shoehorned D'Orlando once again on turn number 5. Into the tree, turn corner number 7. Michael D'Orlando, Matias Ramirez, 2 of the veterans of this class, playing a high-speed game of cat and mouse right now. 38-1 last time by for D'Orlando, 38-0 for Matias. Let's look at the laps here. D'Orlando quicker that time, thanks to a 38-3. Matias a 38-5. As we are past the halfway point, Chris, only 4 to go at the stripe.
Last time by, D'Orlando a lead of .499. Oh, so close to having a full half-second margin here to play with. Off turn number 6, the right-hander at 7. Through the bumps, now back to the throttle, over the dog-leg left-hander. Turn number 9, one more time. He's going to send it down the front stretch here. Up on the wheel. That time by 38-1 to 38-5.
I'll tell you what, Chris, we just saw Aiden Keel on your monitor as they flew by, get a great pass for position on Matthew Latifi as they came down into turn number 9, the last corner of the showcase. Aiden Keel dropped down low, presented his nose to Matthew Latifi a little bit earlier than normal, was right there side by side as they got into the corner and went right by Matthew Latifi for the 9th spot. So Aiden Keel, one of the Anderson racing drivers, moving his way solidly inside the top 10. As our leaders come out of the showcase, they see 3 laps remaining. No change at the front. It's Michael D'Orlando, Matias Ramirez, Eduardo Barrichello, making it a 2 out of... No, it's a 2-3 for OGP right now. Arthur Leese 4th, Nicholas D'Orlando 5th, Killian Myers 6th, Colton from Anderson Racing runs 7th, McDermott 8th, Matthew Latifi and Aiden Keel continue to battle. Right now, it's Latifi in 9th, Keel in 10th, as they're coming down to see 2 laps to go.
So 2 to go. 4 carts separate your leaders as Ramirez closed in quite a bit in the backside that time around the circuit.
Thanks to a purple lap.
Now down the front straightaway. Purple again, 37.9. 3/10 of a second as they saw the double sticks here. Off turn number 3. Ramirez doing everything he can to close that gap on Michael D'Orlando, and he's doing it.
Out of the switchbacks, Matias Ramirez, Chris, is right on Michael D'Orlando's back bumper. And I'll tell you what, it looks like only 2 drivers that last time by were in the 37-second bracket. Matias Ramirez and Eduardo Barrichello from OGP. Mike Speed sure knows how to make horsepower.
Mike Speed, the entire Ocala Grand Prix program, doing a great job. White flag is in the air. You saw Ramirez shake his head, then give her a little dry hump there to try and get back up into the power off the showcase corner. Final lap action now on your screen through turn number 4. Here goes Ramirez to the bottom in 5. No. So Ramirez threw it in there, was not able to make it stick. That's only going to help D'Orlando. Through the tree corner for the final time around the dog leg at turn 8. Barrichello with a run on Ramirez. Will he make it work? Nothing there off the final corner. Michael D'Orlando's going to win it. Ramirez, Barrichello, Lease, D'Orlando, your top 5.
Eduardo Barrichello goes purple on that final run, coming to the checkered flag, a 37.905 for the son of the Formula One ace, Rubens Barrichello. Michael D'Orlando making his sophomore season in Junior Max an impressive one as he keeps the ball rolling here in Ocala at stop number 2 of the Florida Winter Tour. As Chris said, D'Orlando wins it. Matias Ramirez second, Barrichello third, Least fourth, and Nicholas, little brother D'Orlando, in 5th. Killian Meyer ends up 6th with Harry Colt in 7th, Ryan McDermott 8th, Aiden Keel, and Nicholas Bruckner, your top 10. Lachlan DiFrancesco finishes 11th. Good run for the D'Orlandos. I'll tell you what, they are fast. 12th is Manuel Sullivan. Matthew Latifi slips to 13th. Zoe Edenholm 14th. And Dylan Tavella rounds out your top 15. Stephen Malozzi from Oakland Valley Race Park has a good run in 16th. Zach Hollingshead 17th. Jet Noland out of the PK Sport Pit 18th. Andres de Alba and Marc-Antoine Poirier, your top 20. Nathan Ratton comes home 21st. Payton Durant struggles in 22nd. Emin Lowe 23rd. Stojakovic, Delartre, and Mills are your top 25. So, folks, can you believe it? Friday is done here in Ocala, Florida. I got to admit, I'm a fan of the schedule that the Max Speed officials build each and every weekend for us. Not too much work. Not too much work for a mediocre announcer like myself. Basically just 2 official sessions that you got to call each day. This morning started off with 3 rounds of practice. We broke for lunch. We returned for qualifying. Saw extremely exciting last-minute battles there to get the top spot in several fields. And then we just closed up our first round of heat races, bringing Friday to a close. Tomorrow we'll be back with morning warm-ups and then our second and third rounds of heat races. Drivers will start in the same positions through all 3 heats. Where they finish will determine where they start in the pre-final Sunday morning, and where they finish in that pre-final determines where they will start in the main event. Let's see if we got any more shout-outs here. It looks like one from Janelle Pearson. Shout-out to Josh and Aston. Way to go and show your Northwest pride. Great racing, boys. I look forward to the next heat race and wish you both well. As always, do your best, push it, but be safe and have fun. Watching and on the edge of my seat, Janelle Pearson. That's Josh Pearson, your Micromax heat race winner. So, Janelle, thanks a bunch for tuning in. We sure appreciate it. For everybody else who tuned into the broadcast this Friday, thank you so much. We hope you have an awesome, fun, and most importantly, safe Friday night. For Chris Wheeler and everybody here in Ocala, I'm Tony Laporta. We'll see you back here tomorrow for more heat racing. This was live coverage of the 2016 Sofina Foods Florida Winter Tour presented by Fixie Wheels.
The Mazda Road to Indy has been training and promoting the best, most ambitious open-wheel drivers and teams in North America. Now, Max Speed Group and Anderson Promotions brings to the Rotax karting world a unique opportunity to experience the next level in racing.
A lot of these karters have a dream of becoming an IndyCar racer, and that transition going from Rotax to the Mazda Road to Indy is finally there for them to be able to get a feel of that car.
The Mazda Road to Indy, where drivers and teams from around the world come to succeed. This is where it all starts. This is where you want to be.
The 2016 Safina, Florida Winter Tour. Presented by Fixie Wheels. In partnership with Motorsport.com and Ritmo Mundo.